God damn it, why is this shit always unlisted? What the fuck? What?
She gets along, and so they see each other in a nicer way, I guess.
Does it talk crazy?
Destiny, do you go by Destiny or
Steven? Definitely Steven, please, God.
Okay.
Yeah, I just asked that.
Steven,
So
do
you're
you
live
mind,
already?
Yeah.
What? Do you mind allowing us to record? Can you give us permission on Zoom?
Yeah. Oh, do I have to do something for that?
Yeah, you gotta press a button.
Can you try to record?
My Discord,
and ask me, or?
No, it just says please ask the host to give you permission to record.
Oh, he's got to do it from his end because he's running. He's running it, so he needs to give you permission.
Do you know where it is?
On Zoom.
On Zoom.
He should have it on his end.
Sam, do you know? Because
okay,
I think
what about now?
Can
you try now?
Oh, let's see.
Recording in progress.
Oh, we got
yes, that works.
Awesome, thanks.
Cool.
Recording in progress.
Cool.
I'm gonna be right back. I actually have to take a piss. I don't know how YouTube is with injuries or whatever, but this is my injury that I got from dropping the thing on my fucking on my hand. Dropping the weight on my hand. It's like a blood blister.
Yeah, well,
right. So did you want to do the intro?
Quick snap.
Okay.
Press. We're good. We're recording on this end.
Yeah, it looks like we're good on our end, Steven.
Yeah, we're good. I'll set up if you think, but yeah. And then I guess we were talking about I think it was relationship red pill stuff or something today, right?
Right. So
Yes.
we're both in the dating relationship spheres,
Mm-hmm.
both Wheat Waffles and us, the Emily and Todd podcast. Wheat Waffles has been on our channel before, and we've had some interesting discussions about specifically dating apps
Thomas,
and just sort of the dating
stalling
world
the
today. I know
gains.
that you've had
Are you
some
still
interesting
playing
input
Dwarf
as
Fortress?
well,
Don't have
on
very
your
much
channel,
time to, but
let's turn it
yeah,
to
kind
Wheat
of.
Waffles. Can you introduce yourself too?
I just want to hear how much Destiny knows real quickly about the manosphere, because I know you're not a dating-oriented channyou mainly, as you mentioned at the beginning, you're mainly politics focused. So, but it sounds like you have a little bit of knowledge. Like you mentioned red pill. Have you ever heard of black pill though?
Yeah, I guess the sub communities I'm semi-familiar with would be like MGTOW, PUA, red pill, black pill. Yeah, I'm sure there are probably others too, but those are probably the ones I'm the more familiar with. So black pill is I guess it depends on how extreme you are, but it's the idea that you've taken the black pill and you've realized that certain guys are gonna get certain girls, and there's very little that you can do to change this unless you're willing to get cosmetic surgery or something, and you're kind of just fucked, and there's not much you can do to escape those circumstances.
My bench is 5 feet away from me. Oh shit, you got a home gym thing.
If you wanted to say that was a very extreme version of black pill, I'd be more on your page. But I don't think black pill would go, anywhere near that far. Like 99% of black pillers would never say anything close to that extreme. But the reason why, you might think that that's what the black pill is saying is because when you go to the comment sections of, say, my channel or other black pillars channels, you're always going to get that
couple?
vibe.
Was it their podcast? I have no idea. I've never seen these people. I might look them up.
To the more extreme side, because that's the loud minority talking, and they're the most hardcore black pillars who, say random stuff such as, oh, if you're not 6'4" Chad, then it's over. You might as well give up. If you're not in the top 5% or the top 1%, you might as well give up. It's over. There's no point. That's what you'll see in the comment section. But if you watch my content or a couple other black pill channels content, you'll see that it's a lot more modest and grounded in reality. It's more data driven. It's more like objectively focused rather than nihilistically focused.
Hold up. Let's take a moment to see a message from our sponsor, Black Pill Jesus. I thought he was gonna. I was hoping he would post more.
What's gonna be the difference between like moderate black pill versus like red pill content?
So red pill, the main difference between red pill and black pill, in fact, it's a little, I can nuance it like really precise, but this will take a couple minutes to explain, because the red pill is actually broader than a lot of people think. Like when people hear red pill, they're just like, oh, that just means self-improvement, bro, just get a haircut, bro, just learn game, bro, all of those things. But I've actually looked at the red pill community, the different channels in the space on YouTube, and it's a lot broader than people think. There's actually some sides of the red pill that are actually closer to black pill than they are on the other sides of the red pill, if that makes sense. So if I could just explain it for a couple of minutes, I could give you a very clear picture. So there's three main factors in the manosphere that people disagree on. And those are the importance of looks.
Hope your day's productive. Dude, I'm sick as shit. I was about to not stream again. This would be like the very first time I double not streamed in a while, and I was thinking about not doing it because of how fucking sick I am.
You can change your looks and whether women are hypergamous or not. And there's some red pillars that reject all three of those. So they would be your pickup artists because they believe that game is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. So they don't believe that hypergamy exists because they believe even if you're a 3-4 out of 10 guy, if you've got perfect game, you can still pick up a 7 or 8 out of 10 Stacy. Mm-hmm. And obviously they reject the importance of looks as well because they think it's mostly about game, and they reject the genetic component too because anybody can improve their game. But then when you look at the black pill, which is the complete opposite of that way of thinking, they reject the importance of things like game. They're mainly focused on looks. And then they believe that you can't change your looks all that much. And they believe that women are hypergamous. So they only want to date guys that are more attractive than them. And just to give one more example of how the red pill can be close to the black pill, because
I really, is there really dudes that think that women only want to date guys that are more attractive than them? Well, want is doing a lot of heavy, of course they want to, but like, I've seen so many women with guys that are not as attracted to them, primarily due to makeup, because makeup will literally bring up like any person 2 points. If you know how to do makeup well, you literally are 5 and you go to 7. You're a 7, 7 going to a 9 is kind of difficult because like at that point you have to make changes to your body. But like you bring a 4 to a 6, you could go up 2 points with makeup for sure. I've seen some people go up 3 points with makeup. It's insane. You've seen the like crazy transformations. So yeah,
there's one subset of the red pill which believes in two of those 3 pillars that I just mentioned, but they're still classed as red pill because they do believe that women are hypergamous, and they do believe that looks are very important, but they reject the idea that your looks are determined by genetics. So these guys,
I do agree with the idea women are hypergamous, though. They're looking for someone better than them, quote unquote, as a more holistic idea. Like, well, if they're not more attractive than me, well, then they have to earn more money. If they're not earning very much money, they have to be more attractive. As a holistic thing, that, yeah, generally speaking, that is true. They don't date down. Women don't date down. So you either got to have money, game, social status, looks, something, because otherwise women will not want to date you.
Are mainly like focused on gym, improving your fashion, improving your style. So they believe that women only want to date guys that are more attractive than them, but they believe that if you want to get in that position, you just need to improve your looks to a point through things like gym, style, hair, grooming, and so on.
Okay.
That's like my basic overview. So, I think if you just look at that, if you zoom out from all what I've just said, that, you know, one aspect. of
True,
Red
like
Pill
the
where they-
stream, like the stream. If you want to see me continuously post content on YouTube, watch some of Destiny's content or some spicy stuff like Sneeko's content, which I guess I should have watched this clip, then like the damn stream, yeah? There's certain things that I can do on YouTube that I really just can't do on Twitch. YouTube also has organic growth. That's why I'm asking for likes. Because if you get likes on the video, if enough people like it, then more people will come in because YouTube will broadcast or recommend the stream to a wider range of people. So I very much like YouTube's system a lot more than Twitch. That's why I make shout-outs, calls to action on liking the stream. That's why I'm streaming consistently on YouTube now. I think it's really good. I also want to start streaming on Trainwreck's site. I said that earlier, but I really need to get that going.
They're mainly focused on gym style hair. I would argue that they're actually closer to the black pill than they are the pickup artist guys who are more concerned with game and, you know, dating not being hypergamous.
Gotcha. Okay.
Awesome.
So do you have anything to respond to that?
I sound like I would fit like pretty squarely in the red pill camp there. Then I guess if that's what
Okay.
we're
So if we ask one by one then, of those three pillars, how much, like, to what extent do you agree with each of them? Like, in, you know, just a percentage, like 0 to 100. So 0 to 100, are women hypergamous?
Is hypergamous for just dating or for sex? Or what do you mean when you say hypergamous?
So they want to date guys that are higher up the ladder in X, and whether X be status, looks, wealth, you know, anything like that.
Or just your total SMV.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hard one because like everybody wants to date somebody higher than them in some regard, I would imagine, right?
Okay, so that means that you do believe that women are hypergamous then? You're 100 on that?
Yeah, women and men, I would say I'm 100 on, are both hypergamous, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I disagree with the men being hypergamous,
Okay.
but we can get to that in a second. But, you know, just based on that alone, you're not, based on the fact that you agree that...
Wait, the way he defined it, there's no way he can disagree with that. Because he defined it as a want. So I agree that both parties want it. I think one party can get it, another one can't. Women can get it, men really can't. I would say. Outside of like looks, maybe, because there's certain men that date women that have better looks. But like I said, a lot of that comes down to makeup. Like if you see a couple where the woman is more attractive than a guy, which is a lot of the times the case, a lot of that, in my opinion, that difference comes down to makeup. So I don't even consider that true difference. Like if the dude wore makeup, they would be just as attractive as the women that they date. So I don't even consider that to be like that significant of a thing. But yeah, I think women can get away with being hypergamous and men can't. I think women have those options to be able to do it.
People want to date up that women and men are hypergamous. That means that you reject this idea.
Men aren't wanting to date hot 21-year-olds. They absolutely are, and that's why I find what Wheat Waffles is saying is weird. There are lots of men that want to date like young women, men who are no longer young. Granted, almost none of them get to. Do you think a lot of incel dudes seem to have higher standards for women's looks than a lot of Chad dudes? Nope. I hear that shit a lot, and I completely disagree with the idea. Seems like their view of supermodel as the bare minimum. I completely disagree. I think we take the exact same thing that incels say, that we say, normal people say, and we just assume that incels are... have higher standards. I firmly believe this, and if you disagree, you are insane. If a 5 out of 10 woman walked up and genuinely went through all of the weird social nonsense of asking out and trying to go on a date with an incel, do you truly believe the incel would say no? The answer is, of course, they would say yes. There is no way. Any like actual incel guy who can't get women, a 5 out of 10 woman, an average woman walks up to him, asks him out on a date or whatever, he's saying yes. That is happening. I think the issue is when we see like she needs to be this tall, she needs to have this hip to waist ratio. The problem is we're we're assuming that they're doing something that we don't do, but we do all the time. If you ask a woman, hey, what is your preference for a dude's, for the way a dude looks? She'll be like, oh, this, that, this, height, like this. You know, you ask about the income, 100K earner, 20 years old, 6 feet tall, good jawline, and we don't call her an incel. Why? And the reason why is because we view it differently. It's the exact same thing, I promise you. Because a 5'8" dude making 50K a year who doesn't have a great jawline can just be nice to that woman. consistently, and she could definitely date that guy. That is possible, especially if they meet IRL. 100%. Possible. The problem is we're looking at incels who are talking about their ideal, what they want, and then we're just assuming that they won't settle for anything less because they don't get women. It's like, look, he doesn't get women and he says he wants this. So boom, the problem is his standards. No, it's not. The problem is how he communicates with other people. He's exactly the same as every other person. Right? You ask me, what are my ideals for a woman? Well, she's shorter than me. She has a big ass, small waist, preferably decent mid-size, maybe a little bit large breasts. She has good skin, takes care of herself, slightly toned, whatever, not that huge of a deal. I don't care too much about cellulite or whatever. I'm not too picky on that. But ass meets grass, me walking outside, I find 90% of women attractive in my age group. 90% of women who are 20 years old, and I mean this, 90%, get a room full of 100 women, I will find 90 of them attractive. That is me. But I just said what I said. Whoa, that's crazy. That's how humans work. So, long story short, I think we really discriminate against incels when it comes to the way that works.
That some 4 out of 10 guy with unbelievable social skills and game can seduce an 8 out of 10 woman at a bar because he's got, you know, that just raw skill, that raw game.
Well, I mean, I feel like the tricky...
I remember I was asked one time, like, hey, Ahrelevant, what women in this room do you think you find attractive? And it was a room full of like 20-year-old people, like 100 people. So there's a bunch of women. And I looked around and I literally told them it would be easier for me to tell you who I am not attracted to. And I pointed out like 2 people out of a room full of like 50 or 60 women. 2 people. Like, it is so incredibly easy to meet bare minimums when it comes to physical appearance. It's so unbelievably easy. Like, who are you attracted to? What are you talking about? I don't even know how to answer that question. Like, everyone, nigga? What? Like, I don't know. Well, you see, she needs to have this. I feel like, I don't know, maybe other guys are a different way, but I'm just really not that way. It's like, I don't know. Room full of women who are 20 years old, I don't care. Literally pick one. Don't care. I do not give a fuck. I don't care. I do not care. I don't. It's such a high chance that at random, you'll pick someone that I find to be attractive. It's insane.
Part here is going to be in defining the words of like, what does it mean to date up or what? Or
oh, is my mic up?
Because I would say that like, probably like, I mean, it's going to be reasonable depending on how you look. Like if you're a horrifically scarred face missing one arm and you're probably not going to pull a 10 no matter how good your game is. But I think that like most guys can be like a 6 or at least like a 6 or 7 if you like do a haircut, like take care of yourself in terms of hygiene, like have a decent pair of fitting clothes, and that those guys can pull pretty far above what I think a lot of people online would think they could pull. So I don't know if that ends with the hypergamous thing. I think we have to define pretty rigidly what it means to like date up or look up in something, I guess.
Well, I could hopefully give a accurate answer to that. That hypergamy is more concerned with
so
SMV,
crackling?
and I don't think that social skills is a component of SMV. Rather, it's like the communicator of SMV. It's similar to like
is it like social male value or something? What is SMV?
It's sexual market value.
Oh, sexual.
So
okay.
Everyone's got their own opinion on what goes into sexual market value, but people mainly disagree on the proportions rather than the components themselves. So everyone agrees, like the red pillars and black pillars are like, that part of your SMV will be looks, part of your SMV will be your status, your money, things like that along those lines. Your height goes into it, your dick size goes into it, your even things like your voice. Like if you've got a really high pitched voice, then that's like lower SMV. But then it's widely considered that social skills aren't a part of your SMV because that's like the communicator. Like it's delivering the SMV to the person you're talking to.
So
I disagree. I think social skills are a part of SMV. I think being able to be charismatic makes you more attractive, makes you have higher SMV. I think it is a component of it similar to looks.
Could 2 people have the same sexual market value but different social skills?
SMV, sexual market value. Think of it as like out of 10, what are you, all parts considered, right? So what am I out of 10? Whatever. So I consider myself 6 out of 10 when it comes to looks. Social value, I'm probably a 2 out of 10. Like, I cannot talk to women to literally save my life. If you told me I had to get a date with a woman in order to save my brother from going to hell, he's probably just gonna have to get used to hell. Like, that's probably just gonna have to happen. I'm not capable of doing it. But there are there's different dimensions to it. There's social, you know, like he was saying, there's looks, there's you know, aesthetics, whatever, and he tries to combine all of it into you know, something usable.
Yeah. So they can have the same so there's two guys, they're both 6 foot tall on the dot. They're both like a 6 out of 10 in the face. They both have the same income and like wealth and status, things like that. But one of them's got, you know, far better game and social skills. Then obviously he's going to outcompete the other guy because he's beating him in that department.
Okay, but that wouldn't be considered part of his sexual market value?
No, I wouldn't consider that. And I think that most people in the manosphere would agree with that. That they think it's
Bullshit.
separate. You do have like a very small subset of people that think the game is a part of your SMV. But
Bullshit. Your sexual, by every intent and purpose for your sexual market value is supposed to, I've been in the incels communities or whatever, so I've seen how people define it. Your sexual market value is supposed to be seen as your desirability. That's what it was supposed to be. That's what it was like made and used. It's not just like made, it's also used this way to judge your desirability. Whether or not you have game is a massive game changer when it comes to your desirability. Massive. I could tell you as somebody with no game looking at people with game, it is a really big deal for guys. It is a really, really big deal.
but I don't think it's really tied. I mainly hear the argument that
I literally did, Sliv.
game is like what sells your SMV. It's like in sales, you know, the product is the product, and then the sales pitch is in essence the game aspect of it.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I'm chilling. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just so we could like, you know, wrap up this thing, because I know it's taken a while to explain, because you're not like a hardcore manosphere participant. But you know, just to go through the 3 things then. If you had to say 0 to 100 on each of them, just so I can, for my sake, so I can get an idea of where you stand. You know, so women are hypergamous, 0 to 100. How much would you agree on that? Do they want to date guys higher SMV than them?
Fuck. The problem is just it's that SMV for me. I'd probably say no. Then I'd probably say that people probably are about on the same level. That's what I would say. They probably shoot for about the same level. That's probably what I would say. But we'll probably get into the weeds on that later, I guess. That's probably right.
Okay. Okay. For the sake of continuity, the importance of looks. So women want to date guys mainly for their looks, 0 to 100.
I'd probably
Mainly for their looks. How would that even work? Mainly for the looks? I would probably say 80, because I think if you are hot enough, I'm just going to be honest, I think if you're hot enough, you can get away with beating your girlfriend. Just straight up. I think you can get away with hitting women. Yeah, I don't know. The shit that I've seen attractive men get away with is unbelievable. Same with women. I've seen like attractive women straight up go from like, bruh, I've seen attractive women like straight up make false rape allegations and men still fucking want to be with them. It's like insane. So yeah, I'd probably put maybe 80 out of 100 for women, and for like guys, I'd put like 95. I don't know.
do that at like probably 40-ish.
40. Okay, that's fair enough. And the last one, your looks is mainly genetic.
That's... Hey, what? Your looks are mainly genetic? What the fuck are we talking about? Looks are mainly genetic. I'd probably put that at a 70, I guess.
I'd probably do that at like 40-ish.
That's insane to me.
40 as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So you think the majority is the things that you can change your looks, such as?
No way. He believes the majority of your looks are not genetic. That's insane to me.
Going to the gym, improving your style, your fashion, fixing your hair, grooming, skincare, things like that. And then,
Nah, no shot. When you account for a beard, like, because people constantly talk about, well, if you don't have a good jawline, grow a beard. Nigga, you think if I could, you think I wouldn't? Why do you think I don't have a beard right now, chat? It's because my genetics got fucked. I have a shitty jawline, or not that great of a jawline, and I can't grow facial hair. Like, so I got double fucked on genetics. I got triple fucked on genetics because I get acne scars, because every single bit of acne I have ever had in my life, scars because I scar so easily. Genetics is such a large component of looks, it's gotta be at least 70. There's no way.
the genetic components will obviously be like.
Don't they have pills for beards? No, you can't just take a pill and start growing a beard. Also, I know what you're talking about. Like, there's shit that you could get that promotes hair growth. It doesn't instantly get you a beard. Also, it costs a fair amount of money. Last I looked at that shit, but yeah.
Your facial structure.
You said makeup alone can raise you 2 or 3 points? Yeah, for sure. We're talking about for men, though, right? I'm assuming, okay, as a guy, you can't wear makeup because then a woman will just, well, I almost said the F word, but a woman will just call you the F word, and then you're not, like, you can't wear makeup as a man, so.
Your hair.
Because that shit gay, as the women would treat you. That shit gay, and women would just be homophobic.
Your height, your frame, you know, your like muscle building potential and things like that.
Really slipping? No, I honestly, I don't give a fuck what other people say. I know what my lived experience is, and I know how I look. I've had people try and tell me otherwise. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to be nice. I literally know how my life works, and I see how other people are treated. I know exactly where I'm at. And my expectations of where I'm at fits really well with what I think I can get away with and what I do get away with and how people treat me. So I actually think I have a very accurate view of the way I look. What the fuck? Genetics is not majority of the looks? Bro, it's good to see the incel guy on YouTube and advise him.
Okay, sounds good. I think I've got a clear picture. I know me and you have been talking a lot, so I want to give Emily and Todd a chance to give their opinion. I don't want to come onto the show and just dominate the conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Sweet Waffles.
No, women, listen, wear makeup. Tell a woman you wear makeup and see how quickly she stops talking to you. That's like telling a woman that you've sucked dick before. Good luck.
Yeah, so I'm Emily King.
They're literally just gonna they're just gonna get homophobic really fast. That's really what it is. There's nothing gay, by the way, about wearing makeup as a man. It's just that's how society works, and you're gonna be rejected really, really quick.
I have 2.5.
Why tell them? Well, they're gonna probably find out eventually.
Followers on TikTok. I'm kind of new to the manosphere, to be honest. I kind of fell into it after I started gaining a following on TikTok about 2 years ago.
Erudite thinks guys should pencil in their eyebrows. If they can, that sounds like something they can get away with. Penciling in your eyebrows sounds like something you could probably get away with as a guy. Genuinely.
Is when I started that, and I'm just kind of
Yeah. Makeup only works for famous men. Yeah, correct. I agree with that. If you're a famous dude, you can get away with it. But for the most part, you're gonna get roasted the moment she finds out. And by roasted, I mean she's probably gonna do some homophobic shit like to you or whatever. Say like you're gay or whatever. I don't know, dude. That's been what I've seen happen very consistently and is normalized.
I guess real world normal person that was working a 9 to 5 and
But how many of them 90 would you date realistically? Are you talking about the 90 out of 100 women? Every one of them. Every single last one of them. 90% of women in their 20s to 30s. And I know what you're thinking. Well, not over. My standards for like weight and physical appearance is not that bad. I have no problem dating a woman that is quite overweight. I really don't care. 90 of those 90% of women, I am talking about women I would date, not just fuck. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. I would date 90% of women who are in their 20s. This has been consistent throughout my life. If I remember growing up in high school, every single woman in my high school that went there, every one of them I would date, except for there was 4 I wouldn't date. There was 4 in my high school. So out of the like 250 women that went to my high school, I wouldn't date 4 of them.
posting in 2020 some TikToks to do with my own relationship, and started falling into.
I just don't care, man. It's really not that big of a deal.
Or like dating.
Yeah, I'm watching Twitch chat. Why? What's up? Why pencil it? Is there eyebrow tattooing? I think there probably is eyebrow tattooing, but penciling in your eyebrows make them look better.
Advice, because
my man is desperate. It's not about desperate. It's just I don't have like super high standards. Why would I? Literally, my standard is don't be a piece of shit. That is my standard for dating. Don't be a piece of garbage. That's it. Like, Jesus Christ, it's really not that fucking hard.
I had been out of the dating world for about 12 years and had like re-entered it, and I saw the differences.
Oh shit, okay.
Quite different compared to when I was like back in high school, especially because in between, you know, dating apps started to become developed, and that seemed to be like the majority of where people were meeting. And I was seeing like a lot of content, especially on TikTok, of women complaining about men. And honestly, like, it hadn't been my experience, you know, seeing these horrendous things supposedly that men were doing. And I wanted to kind of speak to that. And so some of the content that I started creating had to do with validating some of the things that like men wanted.
Shit, yeah.
Since I was seeing that skew of, you know, women were expecting men to put in all the effort, especially initially on dating apps. And, you know, they were complaining that there were no good men out there. So yeah, I started getting some traction from guys, I think, that felt validated by the struggles that they were having. And yeah, and then, you know, we just started this podcast kind of centered around dating and relationships, mostly starting with dating and talking about struggles that men are having.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I really don't care about these people top left.
And yeah, it's been a couple months now, and I'll let Todd.
Yeah, get me some chicken nuggets, Cypher.
Pretty new.
Yeah, we're still pretty new.
I love their chicken
Todd
nuggets.
introduce himself.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Todd.
I don't wear makeup, so I'd appreciate a woman not wearing makeup all the time. Okay. I don't care. I don't care if a woman has fake fucking everything, all right, or fucking wears makeup or whatever. I don't really care. I don't give a fuck. Just be like not a piece of shit.
And
I guess that's not true. My standards for dating are a little bit weird. And the reason why is just because, like, almost every woman will find my day-to-day life really boring. So I just try and, like, cut that shit out, like, pretty quick. If you are, like, a very active, outgoing person, I probably just won't date you. Because you're going to find me boring, and it's not going to work out anyway. So, like, fuck it.
My background is I'm a psychotherapist.
Mormon vibes are heavy RN.
In private practice for 25 years. So
I'm sorry, I don't care about top left. We're skipping.
On like just trying to fuck somebody, and these environments haven't existed like
this. Thank you for the 28 CAD Cypher.
Before, where like men and women can just go to some like giant like internet repository, submit their profiles, and see who wants to have sex with them. So I think that it's a pretty unique thing that is kind of like just appearing now, and if you don't have much success on it, I think it can probably wear you down very, very, very quickly. I do think people take them a little bit too seriously sometimes. Like, it's very easy for especially men to get discouraged if they're not getting good results in like a couple days or a week or whatever, and it feels like people are pretty reticent to try to figure out like more successful strategies, but rather they kind of just figure that like they're fucked or they can't do anything, or there's no way that they can succeed on these apps because they don't have the right looks or profile or something outside their control, basically. So yeah, I mean, I would say that dating apps have probably been overall, I guess, good for some people, bad for a lot of people's self-esteem, but we obviously need to find a better way to deal with kind of the newer dating markets that exist today that haven't really existed this way historically.
And what would those better ways?
Well, I guess it depends on where you want to go with that. I think that a lot of men are, I would say, socially retarded. I think that for a long period of history, I think that as a man, all you've basically needed is a job, and you're kind of like guaranteed almost to get a woman because women traditionally weren't working and they needed somebody to kind of provide for
all
household.
Right, we'll figure it out.
As women have gotten the ability to control their reproductive health, so they're not like having kids really early, and then as they've entered job markets, so they have the ability to provide for themselves. I think men have been put in this awkward position where they have to provide something more than just a paycheck or just a salary. And I think traditionally we don't really have the training to do that. We don't have the training to succeed in relationships where you have to actually put forth some amount of social or emotional maturity or effort. We would just like traditionally kind of expected to have a paycheck and for that to be enough.
Well, it's interesting. I agree with the premise of what you said. I agree with everything you said with regard to how, dating.
I would agree. So in the context of this, though, I would say the only disagreeable thing is the courting thing. So traditionally, men have needed to court women a lot more than they even do traditionally now, but no men can court like today. Like there's hundreds of millions of more men that can't court today than there was in the past. So there's clearly something unique going on that isn't correlated with a previous way of the world to now. So like when he says like previously men didn't really need to have the social maturity or the emotional maturity that they might need to now that women can provide for themselves, and women's dating market value has increased dramatically because they can afford to not get a boyfriend for a long time. That is true that their market value has done that, but even traditionally, though, when men did hold all of the power through the economic, or by having the financial control of the relationship, men were still courting women, like all the time, like approaching women, asking them out, talking to women, doing all those things that men can't really do anymore because of social retardation, as he put it.
Has changed like historically, because when you look at dating historically, then of course the main thing that guys would be bringing to the table is their wealth through means of a job. Obviously that's all changed now because women are in the workplace. We live in the developed world where
it's a confidence thing, right? It's still linked to what they have to offer as a minimum being higher. What do you mean? Video games and anime ruined men? Unironically. Bruh, I'm thinking about nuggets actually, on God. Whole chat talking about nuggets now. I don't know, man. Approaching women for me isn't really a confidence thing. I have no problem talking to a woman confidence-wise. The problem is I don't want to be a burden on people. And it's very, very difficult for me to talk to a woman and not feel like a burden. Like I'm bringing down the vibe. That's my problem, right? If I walk up to a woman and start hitting on her, it feels like I'm like interrupting what they're doing and like fucking with their day. Is what it feels like. Even if I think that they would date me. It's happened before where I'm like, yeah, I feel like this chick is interested in me. I'm interested in them, but I don't want to fuck with their day by like trying to go over there and talk to them. I don't even know what I would say. I don't know. But I'm very confident in the way that I look and the way that I am. I think I'm a great person to be in a relationship with. I feel like I got fucking evidence to back that up, but doesn't matter because I just don't know what I would say. I feel like I'd say something weird. I'd be a burden on their day. So fuck it. It's just not worth it. I'll just, play video games, go back to programming, do whatever. That's the first 20 plus years of my life was just, fuck that. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play Dota. That was the first 20 years of my life.
Sources are a lot more
evidence, show the receipt. I'm talking about like past relationships and stuff and situations I've gone through in relationships where it's like yeah, I feel like there's really good. I had moments where I could have done some pretty shitty things and I chose not to. Let's watch this clip that was linked to me several times.
Nope.
You want to be?
You don't want me.
What are you talking about?
You don't want me.
Hold up. Is he really putting the moves?
You don't want me.
You know how to cook?
I do.
You know how to clean?
And I'm not vaxxed.
Are you married? Yo, dude, what the fuck, man? Yo!
more abundant. So
yo, he is putting the moves on her, bro. I can't. What is that shit, bro? Oh my god.
It's not a case of life or death for when a woman gets pregnant anymore, and or at least, you know, living in extreme poverty, because the welfare programs are a lot more generous nowadays as well. So I agree, you know, with that, you know, but compared to 50 to 100 years ago, the importance of wealth in today's dating market has decreased significantly in terms of what guys can bring to the table. But in its place, I would argue the thing that's replaced that is looks. Because if you look at you know, the way that Instagram has come through and Tinder's like been introduced in the last 10, 15 years, looks is at the forefront of that. There's not really much that you can convey value with regard to social skills, you know.
Do you have chronic sinustis? I don't know what the fuck that is.
Or things like that, when it's mostly online nowadays. That's how most people meet up and you know, advertise their boyfriends if they want to show him off. It's mostly about looks, in my opinion. That's what's taken the place of wealth.
Yeah, that's just not my. I just don't feel that way in terms of like communicating with women or talking to women. It doesn't feel that way at all. I guess like for Instagram or for like Tinder profiles, I guess the first thing you can kind of see is looks, but I don't know how we would resolve a disagreement there in terms of I feel like I know like so many beautiful women that when they're like qualifying like the types of men they would date or the types of guys that they're in relationships with, I feel like more often than not I see like really pretty women with not as pretty guys, but like usually the guys are bringing something else to the table. Like they're either really funny, I guess it could be like really wealthy, but they're excelling in some other areas.
It's almost always that they're pretty wealthy. If it's a pretty girl, it's almost always wealth in my experience that I've seen, heard of, that I've fucking heard secondhand of. It's almost always money.
Besides just being like Giga Chads.
Well, I have a video on my channel. I could just bring up the exact reasons that I could summarize again here for why I believe that looks is becoming more and more important in today's dating market. And how many reasons did I have? I've had 4 reasons. So the first is technology, which I kind of already summarized. That when it comes to online, looks is at the top of the pyramid, and online dating is, you know, becoming more and more dominant nowadays. But
sinusitis? I don't know what that is. Sinusitis?
When it comes to things like game, personality, money, status, they're at the bottom of the pyramid for online. The second reason is
appreciate it, Cypher. Thank you for the money.
Like women have more and more options because of online dating, and because they have this many options, they need to select through those and filter down.
Wait, do women really have more and more options with online dating? I don't think I agree with that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, well, yeah. How wouldn't they? Well, people have more options, but definitely women do, no?
Just do a quick YouTube search of a woman Tinder experiment. In fact, go even to the next extreme of that. Do below average looks woman Tinder experiment, and you'll have some 3 out of 10 overweight woman getting hundreds of matches on Tinder.
Yeah, so here's something that I want to be really careful about, and I notice this a lot when it comes to online conversations, especially in the pill communities. People are very quick to throw into one basket dating and sex, and I think that's a massive mistake. I think those two need to be wildly separated, because people will say these things where people say like, oh, women have more options than ever before. I don't think that's true. I think that women have probably more options when it comes to finding random guys to fuck, for sure, but Tinder hasn't made it so that 3 out of 10 whale is now dating a guy earning $150,000 a year. Like, I don't think the options for who a woman can date has expanded much. Maybe for who they can have sex with that isn't like normally in their immediate communities, but I don't think it's changed the dating connection too much.
I disagree. I mean, they literally have more people they can outreach to. Like, that's a part of online dating is in a city. So for instance, let's say you're in San Francisco, you as a woman would never be able to realistically interact with 100 dudes to be able to date, like maybe over the course of several years. But on Tinder, you could have literally a realistic chance to interact with, engage with 10,000 guys to possibly date. So I disagree with that. What if I like homophobic women? Based.
Yes, I agree. I agree with what you've just said there, that dating and sex
more options equals more dates. No? Yeah, it's literally how it works. That's how it works. If you are a 3 out of 10 woman and you're super overweight, 3 out of 10 woman, you're let's say you have a 15 or 10% hit rate on guys, meaning out of every 100 guys, you get 10 of them to be able to, who might entertain dating you. Obviously, if you talk to 100 times more guys, which dating apps allow you to do, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to cast that broader net. Also, if you're going to be able to link up with more attractive guys more consistently as well, because there's going to be a lot of women that are going through the learning process. This is what I talk about, kind of to Destiny's point, where I think there's a lot of women that go through a learning process where they realize that that distinction, that there's a lot of guys that will fuck you but not date you. And during that learning process, what you women will do is they'll go out with really attractive guys that obviously only want to have sex with them. And that process is going to take a little bit longer to sink in, that it's not very realistic for women to go after those guys if you have 150 of those really attractive guys hitting you up. And that's only possible at all if you have dating apps. Otherwise, you're going to get like maybe 4 that go to your high school or college. You're going to get maybe 4. And they're probably not going to hit you up because it's probably going to be in public. And just to be honest, there's, no Chad guy is going to want to interact with a unattractive woman in public. That's a thing that unattractive women talk about all the time, is there will be guys that will fuck them but act like they don't know them as soon as their friends are around and shit like that. It's insane. So yeah, that's only if women, that only if the woman even uses online dating, LMAO. It's usually just big cities that do that stuff, LMAO. Yeah, but most young people are using dating apps. Isn't it like 50 or 60% of people are meeting online right now? That's of people, not just young people. Of young people, it's got to be like 70 or 80%. Most people are getting in relationships online now. It's just happening. Oh, yeah, that's true. We should be at least 100 likes. You know what? Let's push it to 120. We can get to 120 likes. I forgot to shout it out. We can get to 120 likes. If you want me to stream more content more consistently, talk about these things, maybe Inso, Black Pill, whatever shit, or if you just want to engage with the stream, put a like on the video, chat inside of the chat room. All of these things help to boost the algorithm to get this stream to new eyes, new users, new people who might not be native to my content. It's a very helpful thing, helps me out a bunch. So if you want to support the stream, you don't have money or whatever, because money is of course appreciated. Come on, money's appreciated. If you want some emotes, you can become a member. But if you just want to do something completely free, you can talk inside of the chat, you can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment. All of these things turbocharge the algorithm on YouTube even more than a traditional YouTube video, because YouTube is trying to be competitive with Twitch when it comes to the live streaming space. So every like is a significant deal on YouTube's algorithms, because they really want to make sure that people watch live streams on YouTube instead of Twitch. And I like YouTube, so I really want to encourage people to engage with the stream.
Need to be,
if they're in big college areas or big cities, smaller cities, it's usually work or family friends. So again, it's just like bubbles. Well, yeah, sure, but most people live in big cities, right? So this is going to generally apply to people.
separated in terms of what a woman can get, and I don't think that a woman's dating genuine relationship options has increased all too much, but her sex options has exploded like magnitudes upon magnitudes because of online dating. But why I still, don't agree with you is because...
Wait, so hold on. If we agree with that women's sexual availability for men has exploded dramatically, we would necessarily agree that almost certainly their standards has increased, right? That's just naturally going to follow. If you can fuck like a 6 out of 10 guy once in your life, if you're a 3 out of 10 chick, because there's only one 6 out of 10 dude in your area to do, but now you can fuck 500 because you live in a city and now you have Tinder, you can fuck 500 of them. Are you ever gonna fuck any dude that's below a 6 out of 10 anymore? No. Why would you? It just doesn't make sense.
It's not about, what works in theory, it's about perception.
But dating is different, I'll say.
Because when you look at these women who are on dating apps, what is going to be their perception when they get all of these matches? What is going to be their perception when they're on Instagram and they're getting hundreds of guys spamming their inbox, liking their photos, commenting?
We'll see how Destiny responds to this, but I do agree with Wheat Waffles and the Black Pill and Red Pill community as a whole. Women do get a diluted sense of self and their physical appearance from dating apps and things similar to it, like Instagram and stuff. I think they do get a diluted sense of self. However, they do still like shit on their, they're their own worst critic or whatever. They'll still like fucking slit their wrists over not being like the perfect hip to waist ratio, but they're slitting their wrist over not being a 10, not because they think they're an 8 or whatever. And in reality, they're, I don't know, a 6. I do believe there's a delusion, and I think over time that goes away. I mean, I've met guys that are this way, literally. I've met guys that have really good game that think that they're more attractive than they are. I don't understand how it works. And obviously, I've met the opposite. Dude, when I go to the gym, I go with some guys that got no business being as like meek or whatever as they are. I look at these guys and I'm like, literally, you could have any woman you want. Pick a woman out of this room, she will fuck you tonight. And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, they need to get a couple of women or whatever. Then they get their inflated sense of self, and then they're going to be able to go off. And I've, of course, met the opposite, where there's some guy with some crazy game that thinks that he's like a 9 out of 10 and doesn't realize that it's all just because he can tell a couple jokes really well.
How hot an average woman is. Her perception is going to be, wow, like I've got so much attention nowadays. Her ego is going to get inflated. So
yeah,
even
like,
though,
women have been...
99% of these guys are just interested in wanting to have sex with her, she's not seeing that side of it.
Yeah, I don't think this is very different than historically how it has been. I think that it's just more visible now. So like we feel like it's way different. I don't know if Emily wants to chime in on this, but like here's something that shocked me. In talking to a lot of women, if you ask a lot of women, when is the first time like older men started to hit on you? My assumption would have been like, I don't know, probably like maybe 15, 16, 17. I have so many women that tell me that like as young as like 10 or 11 years old, they start to get like creepy guys that'll start to hit on them. I think that since the dawn of time, when women have been like getting offered dick through basically every single interaction with a man for basically like their entire like from 12 onwards.
I don't think that was the point Wheat Waffles was trying to make. Wheat Waffles was trying to make with the abundance of dick that they now have access to, less guys are. It is literally this simple. Women have more options, and so therefore they can be pickier, right? Literally, there is more 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 guys that will fuck women, so therefore 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10 guys are having less sex. That is supposed to be the argument.
I don't think that online dating has changed that, or online dating has made that different. Like, oh, like 50 years ago, women were never used to every guy in their area trying to fuck them. And now all of a sudden it's changed because of Instagram and stuff. I don't agree with that. I think it's just become more visible for men. And I agree with what you're saying, that the perception is important, because now in a man's mind, they're like, oh my God, like it's crazy how many guys are trying to fuck all these girls. That's wild. But I think for women historically, it's like, yeah, that's literally always been our lives. Like that's never been different than it is right now, I think.
Well, Stephen, I can
Twizzlers.
just because again, I've been in the dating market. I actually disagree with you, and the reason is...
Wait, what? What is there to disagree with there?
It's because of the fact that most people had a very small area in which, and you could easily...
Oh, is he agreeing with me?
In the well then, if you had that kind of behavior. But now, in an even average size city or a big city, one of these top 5-10% guys can go on a rampage where you wouldn't have that access.
Oh my God, man. The shit I could tell you guys about this. There's one of my friends who he's hot as hell and he knows it. And I can tell you everything this guy is saying is so fucking true. Oh my God. This guy is ruthless. He is a fucking animal, an absolute mutant. What every single Giga Chad meme you can think of, he is it. Because he's hot and he knows it. An unbelievable combo. He's hot and he knows it. It's game over. It is absolute game over. I don't want to put him out there, but Jesus, the things I can tell you. Oh my God, it is the most blackpilling shit in the world.
In the same way, he would have to work a lot harder. He would
Proof? I ain't got none. You believe me if you want to believe me or not. I'm not going to put my guy out there.
Bars and cold approaching every night. And, you know, it's one of those things where he's probably not going to be cold approaching.
Hot 9 out of easy 9 out whole package 9 out of 10. Whole package 9 out of 10. Not just his looks, his whole package is 9 out of 10. He's fucking crazy, dude. Guy, it's cool. I grew up with him. I feel great about the fact that shit's going well for him, man. I've been rooting for him my whole goddamn life. And to see him fucking on top of the world, man, that shit is insane, bro. I get a sense of pride. You get me? I get a sense of pride. I'm like, yeah, that's my nigga, dude. That's my fucking nigga.
4 out of 10 women if he's an 8. But
he's got a real nice job. He makes like fucking $70K or something a year. He's fucking got a real nice job. You know, he makes the median household income himself. Has a fucking killer ass place. He's got, oh my God, he's got it all going for him. It's fucking great, man. I feel good for him.
If he's horny and he goes on Tinder, he can easily hook one up and have him come over at 2 o'clock in the morning. nowadays.
Yeah, there's easier access.
Yeah, I mean, like the dating apps might make it a bit easier to like actually find and connect to somebody, but I'm speaking to the specific claim that like girls' minds are changing because they're getting so many offers on their DMs and stuff. I think that historically women have always been getting a lot of offers or propositions for sex. I don't think that in particular has changed.
Correct. But the amount does matter because the amount then affects how likely you are to date down or to have sex down, right? This was linked to me, I believe, in Twitch chat. It has to do. Officers acted appropriately in swatting arrest of international trans advocate or activist in internal review finds. So that's to do with the Keffels shit. We're probably going to read some of this because I'm interested. I'm interested in that. Fulcrum!
In terms of like, are people able to find people just for sex more easily? Yeah, that's true. But I don't think the offer has changed much for women. I think they're, again, traditionally have always been getting offered sex by everybody.
Well, if I had to
don't know.
rephrase it,
Wait, what do you mean you don't know? There's no way. Wait, does this chick really not think that 50 years ago women were like a woman could fuck at any moment they want? Like, what the hell? Why are they disagreeing with that point? That's true. It's just they're okay. It's this fucking simple, right? And maybe it's easier to view if I do it from the framework of guys. If you are a guy and you can fuck 3 women a year because you can only interact with that many women in your area or whatever, you can only fuck 3 women a year, and so you, I don't know, fuck various different types of women. And in comparison to when the dating market explodes with online dating, now you can fuck 100 women a year. Do you think that maybe you're going to have higher standards for the women you fuck? Of course you are. Literally supply. The supply has increased dramatically. So you're not going to take as many liberties. Like if you want to fuck like once a week, you're going to fuck like probably one of your best options. And when you do online dating, you got some pretty damn good options, especially if you're a woman. You got some pretty damn good options. So you're going to do that shit. It's insane. Hey man, this red pill, black pill, pink pill, rainbow pill crap is boring, bro. Jackson Hammerhawk, I apologize if it's boring to you. I disagree. Much love though.
if I had to rephrase it, I think if it's gone from, 50 years ago, it was like moderately high to nowadays astronomically high. Obviously women would still be getting a lot of offers 50 years ago, but their social circles will be a lot smaller. They're mainly going to be getting offers in the warm approach, which is what Todd alluded to, where guys can't spam approach. They can't run the numbers game there because they're going to poison the well. Because if you approach 2-3 women in that kind of environment and you get rejected all 3 times, then all of the girls are going to gossip and say, "Oh, that's just
That is true as well. That's a big thing but that's more of a, well, no, that's not true actually. That is an online dating thing.
guy who hits on every girl in this environment." So we got.
Does your 9 out of 10 friend hold more standards, or did they just fucking? Oh no, they got way higher standards. I mean, he's literally a walking everything that I have said prior. Because keep in mind, I've been saying everything that I've been saying prior to me reestablishing communication with this guy, because I wasn't talking to him the whole time. I only reestablished communications with him recently. When he chatted the fuck up, because we grew up together. He was not a Chad when we were growing up. And then he, chatted the hell out. And yeah, his standards went up dramatically overnight. He only fucks with 8s, 9s, and 10s exclusively. Yeah. And he can afford to because he's hot. And it's that simple. And he literally has so many women that want to sleep with him. It's insane, bro. I've seen his fucking dating app shit, dude. It's gross. It literally looks like a woman's dating app is what it looks like. It's just so many people. Jesus Christ. It's
stay away from him because he's a creep. Nowadays, the number of options women has definitely exploded. I would say at least 10 times because of mainly online dating, but then there's also a couple other reasons, such as interconnectivity. We live in bigger cities nowadays where before it was mainly in rural areas, and there's more access to transport where people can travel across the city to city. very easily when before you were mainly limited.
Okay, but how the fuck will us mortals ever fuck 9 out of 10s? That's the content I need. I don't know, self-improve. That's not really something I care too much about. Is he taller than you, like a b-ball player? He's 6'2". He's 6'2". He has perfect posture. He's white as fuck. He hits the gym. He's good. He's charismatic, very social. He's got everything going for him. Everything going for him. So yeah, he's taller than me. But yeah. You getting that? Oh, I have the pop filter. I just haven't set it up yet.
To your surroundings and the few people around you. So
yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think
women's options has exploded.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I agree. Like women wouldn't fuck a guy, you're saying, because he's a fuckboy. I feel like even when I was in high school, like, yeah, like people knew who fuckboys were, but it's not like if you got caught like fucking 1 or 2 people, like no woman would fuck with you. It's just you'd probably like be burned as far as relationships go, but you could still like find people to have sex with. I mean, I'll broadly agree that the number of options has probably increased due to like the fact that we live in bigger cities. They're like the groups of people are expanding or whatever. I just don't think it's quite as dire. I don't think it's quite as significantly different. Like before, like women were barely being propositioned, and now like the average girl has 100 guys on Instagram DMs. I think that those two things represent two extremes that aren't real. I think that a long time ago, a lot of women were still getting propositioned pretty often, and today the average girl is not getting 100 guys like DMing her on her Instagram. I feel like the two
on her Instagram, sure, but on Tinder, absolutely. Like 100 people on Tinder, absolutely.
Extremes are too like represented too polarized here. That's my feeling on it.
Well, I say this not only from visual experience, like literally seeing average women open up Tinders, but also seeing what would be considered below average women opening up Tinders.
I do think that there's some balancing that's occurring because...
But again, this is different than relationships. I think relationships are more important, and I don't think that's changed much. I mean, with more options, of course, higher standards, as it always happens, right? Online dating, if you're capable of finding a relationship, which some people do, standards are going to go up, but I don't think it's changed much.
Like when I was younger, I think that there were more guys approaching in person and like, you know, sending notes through the drive-through of the bank, you know, and trying to hit on women that way. I don't think that really happens nowadays.
No, it doesn't.
Think that that's more of like, let's...
That's something that women have talked about pretty consistently, is that like men not hitting on them like IRL or whatever. Good. There's way too much negatives, way too much risk, way too much everything. Men should not hit on women IRL unless you're willing to like face some serious consequences. Possibly. Like that being called a creep. Oh, good luck, man. That is tough. Being labeled a creep inside of a group because you don't meet their arbitrary social standards. Oh, God. Man, how I've seen some men go down because they stutter a couple too many times inside of a conversation, or they're just not attractive enough to get away with talking to some random chick and they get labeled a creep. Oh, boy, man. That's insane. I do not recommend guys approaching women. But... is it something that, you know, you can't do? Of course. Is it something that I would do if I was single? Maybe. If it's something I really wanted to, maybe. I don't know, I guess. But because women are never going to approach you. That's not going to happen. Women don't have the courage. But so it's kind of like being an incel, or I guess it would be a volcel, or approach women. But like, listen, man, Dota 2 is so much more fun than don't approach women. That shit is cold. That shit is cold as fuck. I've seen some fucked shit.
Find this woman on Instagram and then DM her. So it's just like,
the women respect the bravery of you approaching them. Some of them do, and then others do not, because they don't meet your standard. Like, they respect your bravery if they think that you're worthy of their attention. Otherwise, it's weird that you're too confident. You're too confident if you're like somebody who's unattractive approaching an attractive woman. Also, if you stutter, if you do something socially weird, you could get labeled weird or a creep, whatever. There's the risk of that. Oh, God, man. There should be the risk of getting turned into a fucking TikTok. Ugh. Terrible, bro. Terrible.
A different location. Which...
the risk of failure is why it requires bravery, right? And I would say the negative repercussions for failure has gotten so high, I wouldn't recommend guys do it, but you kind of have to. if you want to date, you kind of have to. As a guy, you have to approach women. But cross your fingers, you aren't socially inept, I guess. They will get offended that you think they're in their league. Exactly. If I'm too unattractive to be approaching this woman, they'll be like, the fuck? Why do you think you can get with me? And then it becomes a whole thing. They could tell other people, it's a mess. This is why women should just approach men. It's never going to happen. But if they do, the world would be infinitely an easier and better place. Like, your success rate is like 95% plus. The only time you're ever going to fail is if the guy's in a committed relationship. That's the only time you're going to fail. Otherwise, you're probably going to get a phone number at the very least. Fuck, I have no fucking clue. Why the hell? Like, why do I have to be the one that musters up the courage when I have like 100 times a higher chance at failure than the other person does? Like I said, dude, I don't get it. I don't get it. It is what it is, I guess. Fuck that shit, though. I am tired. I'm fucking exhausted. I just want to play video games.
It's occurring.
Yeah, that's probably instead of like numbers, people are asking for like, what's your Instagram, what's your IG or whatever. Like I hear people say stuff like that, sure.
Yeah, which is interesting. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. I do.
If a girl does like you and you're too scared to approach them, they will lose respect for you. That's probably true.
I do think that it widens the social circle. So like, when I was first thrown back into the dating world.
If all guys stopped approaching together, they'd have to, but there's no solidarity. No, I don't think they'd have to. I think they would literally rather just do online dating. I genuinely think if there was not a single woman that was ever approached IRL, I don't think that there would be a wave of women. There'd of course be some. I don't think there'd be this new culture of women approaching men. Nope. They'd all do online dating. I do not believe that. I just don't think women have the courage to do it. I don't. I really don't. Without like a large social movement to like push women to do it, they're not going to do it. If you're talking about the Chad friend before reminded me of Space Jam monsters, which Chad friend is he? What the hell?
If I hadn't gotten on a dating app, or social media, there's literally like nobody around me that I thought of that I would want to date or that would be available to date. So I definitely was not like getting approached then. Mm-hmm. So it was like the dating apps and social media that
I've never approached a guy. I'll openly identify with imagine getting a no. Fuck that. I don't fear rejection at all. I have no problem with a woman telling me no. What I have a problem with, I have a lot of anxiety about a thing that women will consistently do, where they'll act like you just fucked up their whole day because you asked them out. That is a thing that I've seen happen, that has happened to me, where I've been like, hey, how's it going? And it looks like you just straight up pissed in their coffee. It's like, fuck, man. I don't want to be that guy. I don't like being a burden on other people. That is my worst fear. Not rejection, not others. I don't want to be a burden on somebody else. If somebody just looks me in the eye like, oh, nah, I'm not really interested. I'm like, oh, shit. We're vibing. Fuck. Say less, nigga. Say less. Yo, we are chill. That is all I want. Is for you to just be like, no, I'm actually not really interested. Oh, thank God. Holy shit. Thank God you said that. Oh, my God. Holy shit. And instead, what ends up happening is they look at you with such disdain that you could even dare approach. And it's like, fuck me. That makes me feel bad. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make people feel put out. But if you don't want to be in a relationship, if you don't want to talk to me, we're cool. That's fine. The dub, honestly, the dub is just having a normal fucking interaction. But I can't even get that. That doesn't even fucking happen. It is the most snarky, snide, whatever shit that looks like you just fucking ruined their day. And that they're upset by the fact you approach them. And it's like, fuck, dude, that kind of fucks with me. It's like, fuck me, man. I don't want to do that. And then I end up not approaching women. Because fuck that shit.
Opened the door for more of that. So I do think that there's that difference, especially once you're getting to an older age, and you're not in college or you're not in high school anymore.
Sure, yeah. The dating apps have definitely helped if you're outside of work environments that are co-ed or college.
That's cool. You're that way, Lorik. A lot of women are not. That's just, that's the way it is. A lot of women are not. They are not that way at all. Platonic relationship struggles to feel. Yeah. Bro, you really don't need to have those thoughts and feelings when I interact with you. Have something to add to their lives. If they don't see that, fuck them. That's not, I don't care. That's not how the world works, though. That's not how the world works. It's not like, hey, look, I'm going to interact with you and I'm a good person. I genuinely think I'm a good person. I think I have personal evidence to show that I'm a pretty good person when it comes to relationships. The problem is I don't want to fucking ruin someone else's day. It literally ruins mine. It puts me down, okay? It's not even so much necessarily about them, because sure, I could look at it that way. Yeah, they're snarky, they were rude off of a very simple, normal question, sure. But I don't like the feeling of bringing down the vibe. I don't like that feeling. That makes me feel bad, okay? That's part of the reason why I don't care about the rejection. It's because I know that I'm a decent guy. I know I'm decent looking and whatever. So if some chick's like, yeah, I don't want to date you. Like, even if a woman looks me in the eye and like, I don't think you're attractive enough to date me. That's okay. That's okay. As long as they're not like fucking weirded out, because then that fucks with me, man. It makes me feel like I did something wrong on the approach or whatever, and then it just makes me fucking tired because I don't want to ruin somebody's day. And then I get thinking about it. It's like, fuck that shit. Fuck that. That's too much work. I'd stream muted. Did Relly look at Spank by Monkey's link? Yeah. I have it pulled up. We're going to read it later.
Because outside of those environments, you have to make a really big effort to meet people.
It's a fact that they can be unnecessarily cruel. Yeah. And I'm just opening myself up to it. And I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is, man. Like, I think I'm a very confident person in a lot of ways. Like, I know that I'm a decent person. I know that I'm, not ugly. I know a lot of these things. So, like, if somebody tells me I'm ugly, I don't really care. What I care about is fucking up somebody's day, ruining even a piece of somebody I don't care about, like, very much, fucking with their day upsets me, right? There's examples of this on my stream where there's people that I don't like as human beings. I think they're trash people, and I don't go out of my way to fuck with them. Because I just don't like fucking with people's lives. I really don't like doing that. And when you're just out, I don't know, trying to have fun at, out with your friends or something. If you're trying to, I don't know, have fun with, at a party or something, and then I approach you and I bring down the vibe, bro, that feels cringe. Like, you're just out there trying to have fun, and then the way that you communicate to me is that I just rained on your parade. I don't know. That's enough of that. We're moving on. Shit sucks. Approaching people suck. It's not getting better. It's getting substantially worse. Repercussions are getting substantially worse. Unlucky.
Except for dating apps give you the ability to do that, yeah.
Yeah. And as far as the looks importance, like, I do think that dating apps have skewed it because it is the first thing that you see. I think that it objectifies both men and women a bit more. And makes looks more important. But I do think that overall looks to women are a little less important, I think, still, than men. Because I think that women are still looking for some of those other aspects that they want.
True.
Which, includes status.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I think you're talking about,
for relationships. Yeah.
But it's something that it's really difficult for women who are able to hook up with these high level guys than then to just say, okay, I'm going to marry the plumber then.
Oh, yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? But that's what's, I think, occurring is that a lot of average women are able to hook up with these guys, so they think that they can get relationships from these guys, but they can't.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
And then they end up single because they're not going to settle in their mind for someone who's at their level.
I've seen that even outside of looks, though, right? So, like what you were alluding to with the, how much money is he making per year? Mm-hmm. If she starts hooking up with a guy that's making $200,000.
Bitches will call a guy a creep for holding the door for them. I know I do it all the time, and I am going to be a hypocrite right here, but I'm going to do a thing. I say it in different contexts. Let's not say bitches in the chat room. But yeah, it's a really big problem, is getting labeled a creep. Even rightfully so. I think a lot of dudes are creepy. But I think creepy is way too broad of a term that means too little. I think a lot of guys are creepy for completely innocuous or inane behavior. That doesn't really matter. It's just because they breathe a little too heavy, and talk like this, and it comes off as creepy or weird. And that's completely innocuous, like who cares, kind of behavior, but they get labeled as creepy, and when you're labeled as creepy as a guy, Allah bless you. If she talks to any of her friends about you being creepy, you're cooked in that whole friend group. Could be cooked in your social interactions. Good luck. And then when any person tries to walk up and interact with you, you're the creepy guy, and you talk like that, good luck. It is what it is. That's how you get into the incel cycle, man. That's how people get fucking black-pilled. Is what it is, dude.
$1,000 a year, and then it doesn't follow through with a relationship, and then for her to like backtrack down in her mind to a guy that's making far less. Like I have seen that be an issue.
Or I was thinking more of the looks. If you're with,
I've never seen a woman call a man creepy for holding a door. Unironically, I have. Unironically, I have. It was a piece of shit woman, though. I'm not gonna say like it's indicative of like all women, but literally all it takes is one, right? All it takes is one to do it, to fuck with a guy's life. But I've genuinely seen that happen.
you know,
At like a club? No, it was at a store. There was a guy. He was super ugly. This woman was on some like fucking Cardi B whatever shit. You know what I'm talking about? Like where she thinks being mean is like a personality trait. So again, very much an outlier. And she like looked this guy up and down and said he was a creep for holding the door. And like scoffed at him.
a giga Chad, as Stephen put it, and that's what you have access to that, but you don't have relationships access to that. It's
What are you talking about? It's BuzzFeed feminism.
really difficult to then date Joe Schmo, who's the 5 SMB.
I
what's your thoughts on that?
I just super disagree with that. But I like
Okay.
it's so hard to quantify it, but like it just flies in the face. And it also could be like different social groups that we're in too. So maybe like different girls evaluate things.
In fairness, a lot of guys are creeps and women have negative experiences that prime them. No, they are not. I completely reject this. Hold on. Do you agree a lot of women are hoes? If your answer is yes to both, then I can see where you're coming from with whatever shit. I disagree. If you're talking about a lot of men being creeps, you have to be on some like fresh and fit whatever shit. No. All fade in the hole. No. 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 A lot of guys are not creeps. No, absolutely not. A lot of guys come off as creeps because what is the definition of creep is like really broad for people socially. A lot of guys are not creeps. Not at all. No. No, absolutely not. Depends on the area. I don't think it depends on the area. I think most guys are not creepy. Pretty definitively, most guys are not. Like if I had to put it, at least 90% of guys are not creepy. And when I'm talking about creepy, I'm talking about legitimately creepy, not like socially creepy. There's like fucking like 30% of guys or something is like socially creepy or whatever. I could easily imagine. Fuck that I grew up with is almost certainly the case. A lot of guys are socially creepy, but if we're talking about legitimately creepy, no, that's a completely different story. All right? What is creepy is he doesn't form his sentences properly, and then boom, he's no longer a dating option for you. So again, why women should approach men? Another reason out of the 5 million why women should approach men, but like a dude that talks in a weird way is creepy. Assuming he's not hot enough to get away with it or whatever, because I think the rules entirely change if you're an attractive man or attractive woman, right? You could be an absolute terrible, horrible person, like I was talking about, like the chick who was like really bitchy to the guy who was holding the door. You can get away with being a piece of shit like that if you're attractive, and people will still throw money at you and date you and shit. It's insane. That is some simp activity. You want to talk about simp activity? That's some fucking simp activity. Going like, oh, you're so hot, but you're also a piece of shit. Let me give you money. Simp activity. But anyway. Yeah, creepy guys, no. There's not very many creepy guys. I mean, women's perception of men, yo, boy, that's absolutely true. 100%. Yeah, my bad.
things in different ways. But I feel like women, I think men do this to some extent.
I asked a guy out over text once and he just blocked me. Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate that happened to you.
Too. I know I do this. I think most men do this, but I feel like especially for women, I feel like the way that they view a guy is highly influenced by their relationship with that guy, or like how he interacts with that dude, like or how she interacts with a guy. Like I've seen.
Wait, what? I never know about the holding the door. I'm EU, Denmark. 9 out of 10 times a guy will even wait those awkward extra seconds. I've come to expect the door hold in Denmark. I don't hold doors open for women. Well, that's not true. I hold doors open for everyone. I don't uniquely hold doors open for women. Like if I see somebody coming up to the door while I'm like going through the door, I just hold it open because that's just how people. That's how people I've always interacted with do it.
So many guys that are like super mid, but like the girl is like super in love with the dude, and she's like, oh no, like I really like it, like I like his belly because it feels nice against me, and or like I like his whatever like random shit. You're like, this is not like a traditionally attractive guy, but they get along like super well. They've got a lot of chemistry. She gets along, and so like they see each other in a nicer way, I guess, than you would traditionally think if they were just swiping on Instagram. And I feel like for guys, there's like a bit of truth to that as well, or at least like there are some women who it's like I know like a particular girl, and she's like traditionally like she looks like typically like pretty hot, but she's a huge fucking cunt. I'm like, fuck, I hate this bitch. And she even looks ugly to me. She just looks bad now because I hate her so much. And I feel like it happens with men a little bit. I feel like it happens with women a lot. I don't know if a woman would ever be like, oh no, I've hooked up with this guy that looks like a model, and now I can't date this other guy who's like perfect in every way, but I just can't get over the fact that he's like a 6 out of 10. That feels like a really like it just feels like something I would never hear a woman say. I'm sure there are some that feel that way, but
No. I don't think it goes down that way. I think the way it goes down is they're just not going to give the 6 out of 10 the chance to be able to be seen as the perfect guy. I think that's how it goes down. But in the case, or they like friend zone him or whatever, for whatever reason they might. But I think that's how it goes down, right? Is they don't, like, if they consistently can fuck or be around or even possibly date for a short period of time, because that does happen. Even like 6 out of 10 women can date like 8 out of 10 guys for a short period of time or whatever, because they can just fuck them and then they cheat on them or something. I've seen that happen. That shit will happen. And they just won't entertain the 6 out of 10 guy enough to see his personality. That happens.
I feel like that's way off the norm. That's just my feeling on that.
Well, Emily, you're a woman. What's your thought?
Yeah, so
In the Scandinavia, we hold the door for everyone, even if there will be some awkward seconds. Okay, that is weird. I don't hold the door open for any longer than like 1 or 2 seconds max. If I have to hold the door open for like 4 seconds, I'm just moving on. What are the ages you're seeing this in? 20s. This is why I say I don't like young people. I'm hoping it changes later, but like Jesus Christ, young people are terrible. Young women, young men, for all of the, as much as people would like to say, I'm a misogynist or I hate women, I don't. I hate young people now. Being around, looking at how people engage with black pill content, red pill content, shitting on women or whatever, and in some cases, rightfully so, shitting on women, seeing how like dudes, especially young men, interact with that shit, it just made me go like, oh yeah, you know what? Young women suck. They're terrible people. But you know what else are? Young men. So just like, what are we doing? Like, you're all just terrible. We're all fucking horrible. Oh my God, it's fucking awful. It is a sea of like degeneracy, just learning what can I get away with. Oh, can I get away with dating like 8 out of 10 chicks, not really caring too much about them? What can I get away with? You listen to women talk about like, oh yeah, I'll make the guy I really want to, the nice guy, like wait a little bit for sex before whatever relationships. And then you hear guys' responses being like, okay, I'm just gonna be a piece of shit. And the women complain about the pieces of shit. It's just a fucking cesspool. It is disgusting and grotesque. I fucking hate young people so goddamn much. Oh, because I'm learning. It's an exploratory period of my life, so I could be a piece of garbage. It's fucking horrible. All of the excuses are fucking trash. You're just a bad person. Okay, that's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm cheating or whatever, but I'm like young. I don't know. Some chick showed me attention, and I am so lack so much self-confidence that I just had to fuck this other random chick because I just have no self-fucking confidence, and I never know when I'm gonna get laid again. Just stand with your fucking back straight, you goddamn degenerate. But young people, they'll make excuses. I'm young. I can do what I want. Woohoo! It's fucking insane. I really don't like young people when it comes to dating. But young people are cool to hang out with. They're fun because they're full of energy.
This is my truthful opinion, is that the way that I look at men, especially when I was dating, is their value in who they were as a person, to be honest. Like, I needed to have some level of attraction to them, but it was more of a yes, maybe, no kind of box that I was putting them in as I was dating them. And the maybe box was like really wide. And I didn't really care if they were, you know, a 5 out of 10.
How young are we talking? 20s. Like I said, my friend who, you know, I love the guy to death. Any woman that I actually care about, I would never recommend being in a relationship with that guy for the exact reasons you could think of. Like the Chad friend and various other. Any woman that I care about, I would give them sufficient warnings. Because I see how people get when they have options. When people have options, they're fucking terrible people. When people have options, they're just horrible people. People are fucking terrible when they have a lot of fucking options. It's just the way it is, man. It's the way that it fucking is. It is what it is. It happens. It fucking happens. God, is it annoying, though. I hope it's not the case when you get into your 30s, maybe mid-30s, late 30s. I hope it gets better. I really do. I really fucking do.
8 out of 10. Like, just because that guy was an 8 out of 10 and way more attractive, like, what mattered more to me is, like, how they made me feel. And a lot of other aspects of, like, how we got along. Did our hobbies match? Did, you know, our values align? Did we kind of want the same things in the future?
I can't find anything on TV to watch, but I got a million options. The reason why you can't find anything to watch is because your standards are so fucking high now. If you had one TV channel, like the fucking public access television, right, for your entire life, and then all of a sudden you get fucking premium cable TV, bro, you're gonna be so grateful everything in the world is gonna fucking change. That's how people are, man. And it's fucking crazy. That's how people are. You get used to a standard of life for a really long time. When you get a taste of something new, you can't get enough. God, it's annoying.
Here's my question, though. Like, and I hear what you're saying, and I think traditionally that has been the truth.
Yeah.
Stephen, I agree with you. I'm wondering, though, how does that guy who's the 5 out of 10 with the belly or whatever, like, how does he get in the door nowadays? The warm environments are almost completely gone.
I agree. Both sexes are at fault. I do think also that women are the solution. Men are deductive problem solvers. If women value their virginity more, the men will adapt and be better too. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? What? I don't even understand. I feel like I disagree, but I don't even understand what you said. Really, to be honest with you. Men are deductive problem solvers. In comparison to women? If women value their virginity more, then I'm assuming we believe that they do now, the men will adapt and be better too. They will be better how? Let me explain. 200 cases are not enough. I think he's blaming feminism. Okay, I mean, feminism is partially to blame for women's excessive options, but I think women should have those. I think women should have the freedoms to, you know, fuck as many people as they would like and not feel like they need men to like do that shit. Does that present as trouble for men when it comes to the dating market? Because a lot of our main value has been extinguished, of course. But there's two realities. One where in which we prevent women from like entering the workforce and we shame them for having casual sex, or we allow them to have casual sex and be equal and free participants when it comes to their social lives in the marketplace. And at the very least, man, I like cheap stuff. I like getting cheap cars, cheap fucking food and shit like that, and you can't get rid of 50% of the workforce. So even when it comes down to even just brass tacks, there's no going back on that. Also, I don't care too much about how many people women have slept with. Really, it's a trad argument. Women guard their virginity. Men become giga chads to get their princesses. I don't like competing with other men. I don't like doing that. Want to talk about it? 200 cases and not enough to. Oh, 200. Oh, I see. You want to get in Discord? Yeah, sure. Get in Discord. Lesson Cell. If you want to get inside of Discord. When you said 200 cases isn't enough, I was wondering what the fuck you're talking about. Are you Essence in Discord? Is that who you are?
On, and so it's either cold approach or it's online dating. So it's online dating. You know, the research is in. You know, those guys aren't getting matches. I mean, you know, you can chime in whenever you want when it comes to this.
Yeah. Well, I was going to address the other point that Stephen made, which is that they go with the belly.
What's them? All right, we'll just. Hello.
Hey, what up?
All right, you're Les Inso, right?
Yeah. I'm William also. Yeah.
How do I pronounce your name? Is it literally Les Inso?
Essence. It's just that both L's and
oh,
both
I see.
sides are like cats, you know.
I
can
see.
use Essence, so yeah.
Essence. Got
anyway, you can call me William. That's fine.
William.
What I mean by if women value their virginity, things will start to fall, you know, a little bit closer to being decent. I firmly believe, like I said, men are deductive problem solvers. The reason why men are being so degenerate this generations, it's because sex is so easily accessible. They don't really need to work that hard for it.
Wait, hold on. Just to be clear, you know, less men are having sex now than they like ever
I do
have.
understand that.
So it's not super accessible.
Thing is, men are having most men are having less sex right now because women. Back in the old days, women only had a demographic of men that they could date, right? Their immediate demographic. Social media expanded this, obviously. So as their options open, so did their requirements kind of widen up also. Note, English is not my first language. I actually from
that's
Puerto
fine.
Rico, so
Based
for a moment, I'm just trying to think it through.
It's cool.
So,
it's cool. You know more than one language. That's based. So
yeah.
Take your time. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Also, I'm sick as well. So yeah.
Nice. I got you sick, didn't I, through the stream?
I didn't really know that you were sick. That's why I said what I said at the beginning of the stream. So anyway, so yeah. The reason why I think virginity is an important thing. Like, men used to actually value their women for other things than sex, and even though there's a small percentage of people that still do, and there has always been a small percentage of people that don't, they just want to fuck around because they pretty much could. Like, if we value virginity, men are gonna start, you know, moving towards, you know, being nicer to women, actually valuing women, and actually, you know, trying to get the end goal, which is for a man most of the time, not always, but most of the time.
Well,
it's getting sexual access.
Well, so I think right now is the time when there is the most demand on men to be nice, to be socially intelligent, to be socially mature.
But the thing is that the women don't value that. Well, like, that's why you see a lot of women that are complaining about men being shitty. It's because you keep on looking for the shitty men, because for some reason women are attracted to bad boys and assholes. That's reality.
So there's a couple of things. One, I think one of the reasons why women keep running into it is because of, like what Destiny said, there hasn't been a great demand for men to learn how these social interactions and shit. Obviously, this is pretty uniquely me. I haven't heard very many people talk too much about it. I'm very much a big proponent as well of the idea that a lot of men are doing this, not very nice to women or whatever, don't really know how to interact with women because of the internet, video games, and shit like that, right? That's the reason why I don't know how to interact with women, is because I looked at how much work it would take to learn and develop the skills it would take to approach women, to talk to women and shit, and I said, fuck that, I'm going to play Dota 2. That's more important to me. Literally, I did. I looked at all of it, and I was like, it is better to play Dota 2. And I know at least 3 other people that did the exact same thing. They were like, fuck that, I'm just going to play video games. It's far more fun, it's far more fulfilling, or whatever. Long con, it's not as good because a lot of the skills that you use to talk to women are useful for talking to people, but yeah.
Yeah, but this is something that's always been in society. There's always been nerds. Nerds always find that we're nerds. I'm a nerd as well. I developed socially a little bit later in life, so I consider myself a nerd, even though that if you look at me, I don't really look like a nerd. I'm not a Chad, but I'm not a nerd.
Sure.
So, even though so people still develop a little bit later in life, doesn't mean that it's bad for them to develop later in life. So maybe some people are gonna have a neat advantage because they get to socialize a little bit more as they grow older, as they're younger. So they're gonna have a little bit more advantage of us, the people that decided to stay home, play video games, and just.
Well, it can be a very significant advantage because the problem with learning about social interaction and how to socially interact with people is when you get caught behind, you kind of tend to stay behind because people find you creepy or they find you weird to be around because you have the social maturity of like a 15-year-old when you're 27 years old. It doesn't like, so no one's going to want to hang out with you enough for you to build the skills up to where you need it to be.
But that's not true. There's always going to be someone that's going to want to hang out with you. You're just going to meet them up later on in life.
No, but that takes a lot of work. That takes more work, considerably more work than like with other shit. That's what I'm going through right now.
Like everything takes a lot more work. You're into coding, right? So as you practice into coding, you're going to get better. So what
I'm talking about is it takes more work and less people are going to do it. And that's what I believe we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of...
There lies a problem then. We got to find a way to incentivize people to actually do it, even though they want to do it later on in life. And I still think that virginity is going to... Nobody wants to die being a virgin. Nobody wants to be a virgin. So eventually, if women actually wants to value men for being good, they actually got to work it out to having people that really.
So let's start here. I am the way I described. I'm a weirdo, social reject and shit. How does a woman being a virgin change anything?
For example, she values herself. If you listen to the red pill, I am not a red pillar. I am not a black pillar, but I can recognize that both sides, even the blue pills, has something that they are actually true. It's not a one size fit all. So both sides have truth into them, and men value virginity. And
I don't.
You maybe you don't, but most men. That's why a lot of older men goes for younger women because right now I'm gonna say like that. Yeah, can I curse in any way? So
you can curse.
Like women that has less dick. So the less dick that they have, for some reason, most men find that attractive, and most men want to make those women their wives instead of being their playmats. Like I can have sex with a woman that has 600 bodies, no fucking problem whatsoever.
I don't want to.
Right now I'm dating a woman that only had 2 partners before her, and I'm the 3rd one. And I value that on that because that's really rare. And most men value that. So because maybe people say no, she doesn't have enough experience. She doesn't know what to do with my dick. You can teach her.
That's not my issue. That's not my issue. I don't value virginity.
Not yours.
No. I just want to speak to the point you're making, right? Yeah. I don't value virginity. I don't really care if they're a virgin, but I do also simultaneously value not like having sex with a bunch of people, and that's primarily because of a lifestyle. That's the reason why. There's certain kinds of people that do certain kinds of things, right? That's just how it works. Okay? And so if you have 50 bodies at the age of 22, you live a very specific lifestyle. You are probably very social. You probably go outside, go to the bar, go to clubs, probably almost all the time. You probably do that shit, right? A lot. What? No, I'm not saying.
Okay, you're not saying me specifically. You're talking.
No,
about,
no, I'm talking about like this hypothetical person, right?
Okay.
So that's why I value body count in that way. But I don't care about being a virgin. I agree with you. There's a lot of guys that do value low body counts. I agree. That is a general true thing. Just because men do, that isn't a compelling reason for why women should be virgins. You understand that, right? So why should women be virgins?
Okay. Because most men, like somebody said on chat right now that 50 and 50% men want virgin, value virgin. The 50% that don't value virgin, it's composed of, I don't know the actual statistic, but a little bit, maybe half, a little bit less than half, do value virginity more than they don't. They just settle for, the less partner that my current partner had before me, the better. Where I lie. I mean, I don't mind a virgin, but if you got 3 people, I'm down to fuck with that because, I'm down to walk down the aisle with you. So you only had 3 people before you came to me. So virginity is really important, and it's something that men has valued since we were cavemen. And somebody also said that
Hold on.
Tay 2.0.
I need you to stop reading chat and just kind of answer the question that I put out to you. Why is women's virginity valuable? I know men care about it. I agree men care about it. Why morally ought we care about it? Why is it good to care about it?
People are going to say that I'm Tay 2.0, but reality it's because of paternity. Because of paternity. So you can ensure paternity by, just being the only person that she's been with. It's very.
Can I respond to that?
It's a very caveman way of thinking, but it doesn't mean that's necessarily false.
Yeah, can I speak to that?
Sure, go for it.
We have paternity tests. I understand prehistorically valuable. If we were cavemen, I would agree with you. Just to be clear, I would 100% agree with you. If we were cavemen, I would 100% be perpetuating the idea that women stay virgins for a very long time, and so would men, I would hope, stay virgins for a very long time. People wouldn't fuck. I would enforce that society, men and women, do not fuck unless you're ready to have kids if we were cavemen, and we knew exactly who did it and when. I would agree with that. We have like a roster so we can keep track of who's who. I think that's a based idea. We're in 2022. If I'm worried about paternity, I can just get a test. The moment that I have a kid, I can get a paternity test. If it ain't mine, then fuck that bitch. I'm leaving her. That's a hoe. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Like, if you required a paternity test, trust me, even if the kid is yours, the woman's still gonna leave you because you didn't trust her.
I don't care.
So
hold on. Then let me say something. Let me say something. I made a mistake if I'm having a kid with a woman that cannot handle a paternity test. Now, I agree with you. There's a lot of women that are going to be upset at the idea that you're doing a paternity test or whatever, but I have fucked up dramatically if I have gotten a chick pregnant that is going to leave me in a relationship where we're trying to have a kid, if she is going to leave me if I have a paternity test of that kid. I fucked up pretty badly. But let's assume just to work with you, it's like 99% of women, right, that will leave you if you do that. Even like great, reasonable women will leave you if you get a paternity test. Do not care. It's the woman's fault. They should learn how to stop doing that. That isn't a reason to keep women virgins. You would just say something very simple, which is that, hey, if you value your ability, your sexual autonomy, you're going to need to be okay with men verifying that their kids are theirs. That's it.
You just made my point right there.
And well, how? Because I think women do value their sexual autonomy, and I think when confronted with the argument that, hey, if you're going to have sexual autonomy, you're going to need to be okay with checking for paternity, I think we can convince women of that. I think that's something we can convince women of.
You're right. You're not wrong. But just because that there's a way to ensure paternity, it doesn't mean that I find that that's right. Maybe it's something that with me, like, I just prefer being sure that the kid is mine without having to, open the can of worms.
So
I don't.
Yeah, I understand where you come from. It's not What you're doing, actually, funnily enough, is not deductive logic. It's not. Because deductive logic is just get a paternity test and the problem solved. What you're talking about is this feeling that you want to have that's coming from some separate thing. Deductive logic says just get a paternity test. Even if you know, by the way, if your girl's a virgin prior to meeting you, there's no guarantee that she didn't fuck a guy prior to, after your relationship started and got pregnant. There's no guarantees for that at all. So you're going to need a paternity test either way. You understand that, right? So the deductive logic, as men and our deductive logic, we need to understand, doesn't matter, you still got to get a paternity test. At the end of the day, you're still doing the same thing as me with some chick that has 30 bodies prior to being in a relationship with me.
So you think a solution, a more logical solution would be that paternity test be
standard?
Exactly. So you think that they should be standard? Yeah. Every kid that's born has to have a paternity test, right?
To your problem, I would think it would be standard. I would personally want paternity tests to be standard just for the peace of mind for people and for legal purposes. I think illegally forcing somebody to pay child support or be seen as a guardian or a parent of somebody, I think a paternity test makes sense. I don't think we should be charging people thousands of dollars in child support if we haven't guaranteed that they are their kid. I don't think that makes sense at all. Because
I agree with you. If we continue living the way that we're living right now, I think that, yeah, paternity test has to be a mandatory thing when somebody gives birth. Yeah.
Wait, so if you agree with everything I said, why should we value virginity in women? Because what it came down to was I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the most, because I only am bringing this up because you said men are deductive thinkers, okay? Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're making an emotional argument, which is that we both have already established you're going to need a paternity test whether your wife was a virgin prior to meeting you or not, because there is nothing preventing her from cheating on you to get pregnant in the first place. So you're going to need a paternity test. So why does it matter if, let's say, your wife has, or what do you say, 3 bodies, right? And my wife has 50. What's the
okay?
Why?
Here's why I value virginity more. Let's say that you had a girlfriend that had 30 guys, like you said before. She has 30 ways to compare you in bed. For example, compare you how you treat her, compare you against other 30 people, even though that she's reading you right now. This is a flaw of humans, not just women. We tend to compare versus other people. So
I know what you mean.
Let me make that clear before people start, grilling me for saying that women, compare us. We all do. So that's 30 less people. If she's a virgin, the success rate of a marriage goes higher because she has nothing to compare you with. So in her mind, you're everything that she ever wanted and even more.
So can I speak on that?
Yeah.
Because obviously I've been looking at black pill shit and red pill shit for a while. All of the information that I've seen in the studies that you're referencing are what you say. Women are more likely to experience what they call a happy relationship or a happy marriage if they are have less partners, even in comparison to men. So it's actually not 1-to-1. Like a woman with 5 bodies is going to have a less happy marriage than a man with 5 bodies. It is actually disproportionate. I've seen that. However, but I understand what your point generally was true as well about the amount of people because of the comparison thing. All of the information that I've seen that points to what you are talking about, I have seen in the context of somebody's self-reported happiness. And self-reported happiness is, of course, the only way we can really do it. But my issue that I've seen with that is that you would have women that will say that they're happy, but they say that they're happy in an example that I would bring up is a separate one, but I'm just trying to figure out if I can say this, and I'm just going to say it. And if it doesn't make sense, I'll explain further. Women can say that they're happy, and men can say that they're happy, but not really know what being happy is. I would say the vast majority of people do this. I would say that I am an example of somebody who is outside of that. I am a truly happy person, but I have met several people that say to me, look me in the eye and say, I'm happy. They'll self-report that they are happy, but they're fucking miserable. They're lonely or they whatever, because they think about what it could be and whatever, but they'll communicate that they're happy because that's what they think happiness is. And when I say I'm truly happy, I mean I wake up every fucking day. I went through some serious shit. I haven't told my stream, right? I've gone through some serious shit recently. You know, my mother's condition sparking up a little bit more, financial shit. I've been going through some serious stuff, and every fucking day I am so grateful and happy to be alive. And that's how I know I'm a very happy person, is because some of the most depressing shit I've ever been through in my life, and I fucking love being alive. I do phenomenal shit every day. I love it so much. I'm sick all the time, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? And so, but you hear some of these people and they'll be like, I'm a happy person, and then when their fucking milk gets spilled, they're having a goddamn mental health crisis, right? And so my whole point is that those women who talk about being happy inside of that relationship, who otherwise might, of what I've seen, I haven't seen compelling enough information to show that they are truly happy. It's that they think that they're happy, and they think that's what makes people happy, and that's what they communicate. That's what I've seen out of the data itself that I actually looked at, the studies. And it seems like the women that have had more partners realize that it's very complex how their happiness would work, and it is actually better to have a guy that does this and that and this and that. So to your previous point, I think there is a lot of merit.
You're making my point once again. Like, happiness apparently is a subjective thing.
Yeah.
And it's based on your experiences. So if you don't have things to compare it to, by default you're happier. And even though that you think that they're not happy because, oh yeah, but she's not really happy because she hasn't gone to Cancun. So, okay, she hasn't gone to Cancun, so that means that she's not happy? No, it means that she doesn't have that experience to compare it to. So right now she is happy. Now maybe when she goes to Cancun, like her happiness is going to change.
So this gets into a really interesting way of thinking. Okay, it's going to sound like it's off topic, but it's not. I promise. Let's say we could get rid of all of technology, right? And just have live in huts and shit, but we'd be considerably happier.
If it's all that we have ever known, like right now, if I wake up tomorrow with the knowledge that I already know, and I'm living in a jungle, in a hut, on a tribe, probably not, because I'm gonna miss absolutely everything that I already had. But there's a tribe called the Sentinel tribes that lives. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're apparently extremely aggressive. Anyway, the point is that those people have absolutely no contact with the outside world, and they're happy being like that because that's all they know. So happiness is really a subjective thing.
I don't disagree. My problem is I don't think we can undo that situation, like prevent people from understanding and coming to the idea that these different experiences can and will exist, even if they are virgins. So of the information that we've talked about, right? And the reason why I brought up the hut thing is because there is a can of worms that cannot be unopened, which is that the freedom to express yourself sexually is going to like I said, certain types of people do certain types of things. So when we talk about the women or whatever in the studies that you were talking about that have more happy relationships who are virgins, those are going to be people that probably go after or do certain things that are going to make them view their relationship as more happy in comparison to other people. I've not seen any actual evidence that I've found to be compelling that shows that that somebody is truly more or less happy by having more experiences sexually or intimately outside of just getting it right the first time. So there's people who will date and will find their perfect partner on the first or second try. Those people are happy. And I've seen that, which is obviously going to have overlap with virgins, because if it's your first relationship, there's probably a fair chance you're a virgin when you start that relationship. So yeah, there's probably going to be a fair number of those people that have a happy relationship. But Yeah, so that's kind of what I mean. I've seen no compelling. It's a very complex study, what you're referencing on happiness, and self-proclaimed happiness is very difficult to track.
Everything we're talking about, it's extremely complex. Everything in life that it's really important, it's always going to also have some sort of complexity. And
right.
in
And
this
so,
matter, it's really complex.
Okay, so let's then shift gears and let me just start agreeing with some things, and then we'll try and figure out a worldview. Let's say I agree with you that women, and I agree, and I say the data is solid, women do indeed have a better life if they are virgins. They have better relationships if they're virgins, because their experience makes them, I don't know, think about the grass is greener on the other side or whatever, and makes them unsatisfied. Let's say I agree with it. How would you even enforce it? My Discord, not yours.
Say that again.
Sorry, I'm getting Discord pings. Okay, but sorry. How would you go about enforcing the virginity of women?
I wouldn't go into enforcing it. We cannot force anybody to do something. What we can do is actually value it a little bit more. And the problem is that we're not valuing virginity as a society anymore. Like, that's why we have this issue with the pornography that's being blown away. We have this OnlyFans models. Every woman wants to be an OnlyFans model, even though that they can't. Because I have seen, I don't want to sound, fatphobic or anything, even though that I don't really believe in that shit. But I've seen people trucks like ugly as women with OnlyFans, and sadly, there's people that actually buy for that, so they enforce their
hold
idea.
on. So so there's a couple of things there. One, do you actually believe every woman wants to be an OnlyFans model, or is this just a hyperbolic statement?
Not every woman, not 100% of women, but it has risen in the past couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years. It had risen, maybe doubled.
I don't know where we would get the specific numbers. I can agree with the idea that the amount of women wanting to get in sex work has increased. If that's what you okay. And for the overweight women thing, it's just people with different preferences. For example, I have no problem with women that are substantially higher weight than it seems like most men are. When I hear guys talk about women that are overweight, they seem perfectly fine to me. They don't seem overweight or too crazy to me. So I think it's just different people. But are you trying to say our standards for women are going down? Is that what is worrying you?
No. I'm not trying to say that standard women are going. Well, in some ways, not necessarily underweight, but in some ways, yeah, our standards of women are being, are being lowered. Like, society itself. Like, right now, women can be as promiscuous as they want, and all the world's gonna do, go get it, girl, you deserve that back, whatever. And something that Fresh and Fit says, I don't really like Fresh and Fits anymore. Like, okay. I took a couple of things that they said, and I took them by heart because they just make sense. But most of them, I don't like it. But they always say that fast money comes with slow problems. We can apply that to a lot of things. And I think sexuality is one of those things. Like, women are devaluing themselves. Like, they don't like men objectifying sexually them, but they do it to themselves right now just for money. So basically, our standards, not just on women, our standards of how we view ourselves has been lowered, and that's for women specifically. Men has also had
okay,
that problem.
So then, hold on. Let's talk about that then, because we just agreed not all women are doing OnlyFans, right?
No, not all. But there's a big. There's a
it's not even like 0.1%. No, it's not even 0.1% of the population.
There's a lot of OnlyFans that people don't really know because they just don't make anything. But a lot of women has thought about it.
Okay,
and they
how many accounts do you think even exist on OnlyFans?
We can Google it.
Well, I'm asking you how many before we Google it.
Couple millions. probably 8 digits.
Let me see. Just a little over 1 million creators.
1.5 million. I actually would have thought that probably on the 8 digits. Yeah.
And that assumes that all of them are.
But is that 1 point? Sorry, is that 1.5 of creators that are actually making some sort of money, or does that also counts as creators that don't really upload anything or don't have a page?
That is creators, people that have created content.
That is creators. Okay.
It says there is like 85 million accounts that are users. Which is honestly considerably higher than I thought it would be. But there's like 85 million like users, but there's only about 1 million creators.
Well, there's actually 170 million registered users. 170 million.
Yeah, so those are accounts. But like people that create content, there's only 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's less than 1% of the American women's population. Literally, if all of those women were in America, and we're even assuming that all of the creators on OnlyFans are women creating sex content, which is probably going to be a lot. It's probably going to be 95+%. I have no problem just assuming it's 100%. So we assume like that full million is in America. That's still less than 1% of women in America. You understand that, right? And that's global.
I do, but maybe I know that there's a lot of other websites that has the same model as OnlyFans. They're just not OnlyFans.
Yeah, but OnlyFans is the biggest, and you and I agree with that.
Yeah, it is the biggest.
Yeah,
but
so
there's also Fansly. There's one called Coffee with a K. There's
yeah, but the point of us bringing the point of us saying that it's the biggest is to illustrate that even the biggest one isn't even 1%. It's 0.5% of the women's population in America alone.
Yeah, that I can agree with that. Yeah,
it's what 0.2% of Europe's population. Of the planet's, it's what is that? 4 billion. Yeah, it's like 0.001. Like almost no women do that. So to bring it back to the original point, which is like you said women aren't valuing themselves because of these OnlyFans. You're talking about a fraction of the percent of women that exist.
You are correct. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel like using OnlyFans as a metric to say women in general don't value themselves, but I also don't necessarily believe just because you do an OnlyFans that doesn't mean you respect yourself. You disrespect yourself.
Mm-hmm. No, I can agree with that. OnlyFans has a lot of other creators that has nothing to do with sex work.
Well, no, I'm saying even the women that are on there that do sex work, they can value themselves, right?
Yeah, don't you think that the other women that don't actually are creators don't look at that as a standard of having to be, having to do something to, finding a man? Maybe they just said.
Can you repeat yourself? I didn't understand what you just said.
Okay, don't you think that women that are not creators, for example, just standard Stacy, that knows that there's OnlyFans, she doesn't want to do OnlyFans, but she acknowledges that a lot of guys watch OnlyFans women, and that she thinks that that's right, and tries to, move accordingly just to be accepted by men, and so she started being promiscuous because she thinks that's what men like. You don't think that can be a problem?
Yeah, if they're doing it for explicitly like men's validation and approval or whatever, and not because of something underlying, then yeah. Like a good example that I brought up earlier in the stream is what my chat asked me, is there anything that I have done, any compromises on my physical appearance I have done because my girlfriend said that it was something they would prefer me to do? And my answer to that was, yeah, of course, there's certain things that I've worn because my girlfriend said it looked good or whatever, but then there's certain things where I've done it in spite of what she said. Like, for instance, me going to the gym. My girlfriend was like, well, I like the way you look now, and I just said I didn't care, and I'm going to go to the gym. And then she was like talking about, I was like, I had a back and forth with her. I actually did this prior to even us getting a relationship because I wanted to go to the gym for a while. I was like, if I looked like, and I showed her various pictures of people whose bodies I wanted to like generally get mine to look like. It's like, if I look like that, would you like, how would you feel about that? And she was like, oh, don't really like that. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just letting you know I'm going to look like that. You decide whether or not you want to be in a relationship with me, but I'm going to look like that. That's going to happen eventually.
And I bet she likes you more because you said that.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
Your guns.
Maybe. I don't know. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is there's certain things that you can do for you that also positively affect, because, well, she likes the way I look more now than I did before. Like, she likes the change. So that, and she said she didn't really know if she was going to like the change very much, but she did. And my whole point is, just because she came around to liking it, right? Or she did end up liking it, or even if she wanted the idea of liking it, the whole point was that I was doing it for myself. You understand? True. And so I think the problem with what you previously described isn't that the women are doing OnlyFans. I think the problem is the women is doing OnlyFans for the validation of men, and that's their primary concern. If they wanted to do OnlyFans because it makes them feel good to be like, I don't know, on camera, or to somebody that talks about it, I think in a pretty interesting way, is someone. Have you heard of Brittany Simon?
I do.
Yeah. Brittany Simon talks about it in a way that is very palatable that I can't do justice to, but that it's like, it feels good for some women to do, just full stop, and independent of like various other people, like on their own as people. Kind of like the way I described going to the gym for me was just something I was going to do for me. And so there's women that will do that, and I have no problem with that. So when you talk about OnlyFans people not valuing themselves, I would only see that in the people that are trying to do it out of insecurity or something, and aren't doing it for themselves. But of the women who are doing it for themselves, I don't see any problem with OnlyFans. What is the problem with OnlyFans?
I'm not saying that women that do OnlyFans don't value themselves. I'm just saying that as a society, we are not valuing ourselves correctly.
How are we not valuing ourselves correctly then?
Because, let's see. Let me see how I phrase this. I don't know, dude. Maybe we just have different ways of viewing this issue, and although I do understand your point of view, you're not gonna agree with mine either.
Well, I don't even know what your point of view is. That's kind of why I'm trying to. I don't understand.
I still think that virginity is a really beautiful thing, and men value that. That's why most men, not you, you're an anomaly, and most men that don't like it are anomalies, or a lot of them just prefer having lower body counts because it's the closest to virginity as possible.
Well, no,
that's something that you can verify.
But the problem is, you came in here talking about men on deductive reasoning, and I really want to hit that. Men are deductive thinkers, and we've already established that the first reason you gave for virginity wasn't deductive; it was completely emotional.
No, okay, yeah. Here's why I said men are deductive problem solvers. Like, the issue with men is that, okay, we are having a society of degeneracy right now, right? So men wants to have sex, women want security. Women are obviously the gatekeepers of sex. So in order for men to get what they want, they gotta lie, right? They gotta,
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
I don't think that's what men really want. I think men do want sex, but I also think they want relationships. I think they want partnerships.
Men has always want abundance, and they just want women that they want a woman to marry, but they actually enjoy abundance of women. Do you agree?
Are you asking, would men prefer, by and large, to marry one woman and then fuck other women?
That's correctly.
To be honest, truly honest, I don't know. I've heard a lot of red pill guys say that's what they think men want and shit. I really don't know. I truly don't.
Most men want it. There's obviously the outliers.
Hold on. Well, that's the thing. I've talked to a lot of men who don't want that. They want purely monogamous relationships. Like, there'll be men who want to sleep around, but at the end of the day, they like the idea of, you know, a mutually monogamous situation, right? Like, it's not like when you're in a relationship, you stop sexual feelings for other people. You want to fuck other people while in a relationship, but so do women. Women want to fuck other dudes while they're in a relationship. I don't think that's a unique thing that men experience.
No, I actually think that when your woman actually likes you, and not like every other guy, you know, they can look at them, but they
Bro, that's cope.
They're
really?
relevant.
Really?
I do think that every other guy, when they truly love you, every other guy becomes irrelevant to them. I really do think that. I don't think that there has been any studies that can actually 100% prove it. If there are, haven't found any, but I actually do believe that when women truly loves the guy, everybody else.
I have a couple of women in my chat right now. Would you believe them if they told you? Maybe not, because they're more motivated to just agree with me, I guess. But I think if you talk to women, they would tell you the exact same thing, that they're still sexually attracted to other guys.
I don't know. Maybe I should. Thing is that I have walked around here in Puerto Rico and actually asked a different demographic of women of all ages whether or not, you know, if they're in love with someone, would they fantasize about somebody else? And most women actually, I was surprised because I thought that they would have said yes, but most of them said no. Like they become.
Well, I'm not sorry. I'm not surprised by them saying no, because that's something that somebody would say to, especially women, because they're gonna get socially ostracized for saying.
The thing is that I'm not a content creator, so they're just not gonna know if I publicize anything, because I haven't publicized anything. You know,
sure, that's why I'm
around and going out, so they can actually be honest with me.
I don't think they're going to be honest with you. Well, if they are honest with you as well, it might not be something that they think happens. That's another thing. I think people will be honest about things they haven't really thought through enough, but or they are quick to forget. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of women that will be in relationships and still have sexual feelings for other people. Like, that's a normal thing to have. Why? Hold on. Why do you think it isn't the case that women? Why do you think women would stop having sexual feelings for any other person?
It's not that they will they will stop having sexual feelings for other people. It's that everybody else would become irrelevant. Do you think? I don't want to use this fucking word because it sucks, but do you believe that women are hypergamous? Do they want the best man? Do they want the best man that they can get?
Yeah. So Destiny went over this in the thing. I agree, all people are hypergamous, but I believe women can get away with being hypergamous more than men can.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Great.
So being hypergamous, if she chooses you, it's because she thinks that you're the best guy that she can really have, and that she's, you know, everybody else is going to become irrelevant to her. That's really why I think that once a woman truly loves you, it's not that she says that she loves you but she actually has feelings for somebody else, or that you were her second best option because the first one, you know, didn't want her or was married already. You know, if she truly loves you, everybody else becomes irrelevant to her.
I don't think that's true. I think that I think people will not be relevant. Well, also, if you think that's true, do you not think it's true for men?
The thing is that men truly loves their women, because you can love your girlfriend, for example, and you can actually go outside and have a fling with someone, and when you come back, you don't hate your wife, you know, you don't hate your girlfriend, you don't have a disdain for her, you don't stop liking her. For women to actually go out, step out, not exclusively and not always, but most of them, you know, there has to be a physical, either a physical or emotional connection for them to have sex with someone.
So you don't think it's possible for women to establish an emotional connection with another person when they already have an emotional connection with? Or so huh?
You mean?
Yeah, with the hypothetical dude, yeah.
Well, if they truly loves you, I don't. I don't really think that they
So
can,
I'm
or
just
at least, or at least even well, no, I'm not. Let me correct myself because I'm talking out of my ass. Yes, they can. The thing is that most women that respect you and truly loves you is not gonna put herself in that situation.
No, to get an emotional connection with another man.
With somebody else, yeah.
What if it's
Because
just like
she
a friend?
truly- Have you ever truly been platonic friends with a woman that you actually has no real that she says, you know what, I'm feeling horny tonight and I want you to fuck me. Can you come over? And you're gonna say, no, dude, we're just friends. Let's
So
keep being friends."
my answer is going to be yes. I have been platonic friends with somebody, but I understand what you're saying is that 99% of guys know, and I
Correctly.
can agree with that. That that's the case.
So if 99%, why? If it's 99, let's say it's not. Let's be a little bit more cheerful. Let's say that it's 92%, not 99. It's 92%. There's
whatever
8%
percent you
chance
want.
that no. It's still a high number. Why are you gonna risk it? Women knows this. Because women know when they're friend zoning someone, they all know that that guy really wants to get with her. They
Well,
all
no.
know.
What I'm
act
saying is,
stupid, but they know.
what if they have a guy friend who they naturally start developing feelings for?
The moment that she truly loves you and respects you, she's not gonna put herself in that situation. I do understand
By
what
having
you're saying.
are you trying to say that they're not going to have guy friends? Because if you have a guy,
I'm not trying to say that she's not gonna have a guy friend, but
Well-
she know if that's a possibility. Like herself, she's gonna recognize that might be a possibility, and she respects you. She's gonna cut off.
what? No. So no. I'm not trying to. So you're putting the cart before the horse. If she can have a guy friend and she can naturally develop feelings for him, and then you're saying like what she should do is cut it off. What I'm saying is she could develop feelings for another man, right? And then she could cheat on you. We could agree that it could be wrong for her to cheat on you or whatever, but she could develop an emotional connection with another man and want to have sex with that other man.
Thing is that again,
Even if she loves you. We just established that.
if she truly loves you, she won't develop those feelings now.
How?
But also,
How is it?
because she truly loves you and respects you.
This is the okay. I've been waiting. This is some Pixar shit, my nigga. No way. Like, what is this blue? Like, this is some Disney Channel shit, dude. Why?
No,
what happened to deductive thinkers, man? Why? This is like you're saying that Cinderella views me as her Prince Charming.
Yeah, go for it.
It seems like right now you're trying to sell me the idea that like she's your Cinderella, that you're her knight in shining armor, and she views no other man in the world. I feel like this is some Pixar shit, man. It's very possible she's gonna develop emotional feelings, sexual feelings for another person. I agree that if she really loves you, she's not gonna act on them. That's true, but she's absolutely gonna develop those feelings.
If you're her best option, no, I don't think so. If you're not her best option, but you know she truly she loves you, but you're not her best option, yes, it's gonna happen, true. Because her hypergamy is gonna hit.
Okay, so then wait, if you agree with that, you realize you can never be. Wait, hold on. What do you mean by best option? Like the best option in her vicinity?
You know, her best option, period.
Like that she can realistically obtain.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Or at least that she thinks that you are her best option.
Okay, so then that sounds like an argument to me to never date women. If what you're saying to me, yeah. Because what you're saying to me is that if my woman increases her SMV a hair and has the availability to date somebody slightly better than me, I'm going to get dumped. Because I'm no longer her best option. And then she'll just cheat on me.
There's a possibility, but it's not always. But there's always a possibility. The thing that I'm
so
trying
then
to say
hold on. How can you say a woman ever truly loves you if all it is one good hair day, one good makeup day, one good Instagram picture day away from cheating on you? Because according to you, all it takes is like one good Instagram picture for her to realize she can get with somebody better, and then she's going to leave you. And you're no longer that guy that does that emotional thing for you. So why would I ever say that women ever can truly love you? By your framework, women women loving you just means that you're like a lily pad that she's jumping onto until she finds one that's bigger and better, and then hopping to the next one.
Well, you're not gonna agree with what I'm gonna say. I'm still gonna say it. Like, if she's just gonna put herself out of situations that might conduct herself to, okay, wait. Let me think it through. She's not gonna put herself in situations that might get her to that not desired outcome by respecting you.
No. Because all she has to do is improve her SMV, and then she can get with a better guy.
Here comes again the virginity thing. Like, you're everything that she has ever known. So she doesn't think that anybody else is better because you're the only thing that she ever knew.
You think so? Just to be clear, you think a virgin is not gonna know that a guy with a better jawline could be better than you? Somebody that literally is more attractive than you could be like, this is some Pixar shit, my boy. Like, what you are talking about is a fantasy. What you are saying is that women will only be as faithful to you as what was it? There's a saying like, loyalty isn't loyalty if it can be bought, if it can be easily transferred in such a way. Like, that's not loyalty. So why would I ever be with? If you view women this way, the way that you've described, if you consider women to be this way, I'm gonna start fucking dudes. I don't want to be with women. I don't view women that way. I'm wondering why you're not gay. A bit, no. Hyperbolic there or whatever. It's just a bit of a joke.
Yeah,
but like,
no, I get it. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's like women are terrible by your argument. They're just genuinely like pieces of shit that just go from one person to the next the moment that they can do one better.
When you got something to compare, you're always gonna compare. You're always gonna think that you could be happier. There's always grass is greener on the other side. That's why I say that virginity is so important. If you don't have anything to compare it to, like, even though that you're truly happy and you might be able to be happier with some other options, but since it's all you know and you're happy because that's all you know, that's why you're gonna be, I don't know if I'm expressing myself on that. Express myself a little bit better. If that's all that they know, they're gonna be happy. So when you brought that study that says that women with less partners were happier, but you thought that they were not truly happier because what was the thing?
Okay, so no, I just haven't seen compelling evidence. Was my point. It could be completely possible, but it was that. Something that some people will do is there will be like a person trapped in a dark room that will say that like, I'm happy because, like you said, it's the only world that they know. But that doesn't mean it's the only world that they will know or that they're even truly happy in that place. You can say that you're happy because your only perception of happiness is so limited. But in reality, you could live a phenomenally healthier life, phenomenally happier in the life. And this is the comparison.
Healthier by whose standards?
Mental health and shit like that. Like, this was a comparison that I made about me versus somebody else, right? There's people that are saying they're happy right now having mental fucking breakdowns about like milk dropping out of their fucking fridge, and they genuinely believe they're happy people, right? In comparison to, I really don't like talking about me that much because it makes it sound like I'm bragging, but in comparison to me, where I'm like, dude, I'm going through fucking horrific shit in my personal life, but I am a very happy, I am grateful every moment I breathe air. I love the fact I have a house that's falling apart, but I love sitting in here. It is, every moment is bliss of my life. Every moment is bliss. Absolute bliss.
You're a positive person, man. And
I'm allowed to be positive because life has dealt me a very generous hand, right?
I know.
But that's my point, is that both people can say they're happy, but one can have a substantially better standard of life in comparison to another, but both say they're happy. Just saying you're happy doesn't mean that you're having the same experience.
True, but doesn't mean either that you are happier than the person with less experience just because you have more experiences. both
that's
of you
that.
are
I
happy.
agree.
It's just both of you have a different ways of being happy. I'm not saying
Well,
that
hold on.
your way of thinking it's conducive not to be happy. I'm not saying that my way is the rightful way either. But you know,
So-
it's being happy. Like
So
that's the standard.
let me change the framing of this then.
Okay.
Can somebody be wrong when they say they're happy?
Sorry, say that again.
Can somebody be wrong when they self-survey their happiness?
Well, somebody can lie.
No, can
and
they be
say that they're happy.
wrong and like convince themselves they're happy when they're not?
It's a hard question. Can somebody be wrong when they're saying that they're happy?
Like convince
They
themselves that they're
truly
happy
feel
when they're
happy.
not.
They truly feel happy. Oh yeah, dude, I'm really happy. But by somebody else's standard, I'm not really happy because
No. They're self-proclaimed, because when you're doing all the work when you say truly. So take me for example. I said truly, but that's from my own perspective. Could I be deluding myself into thinking that I'm happy, like me, as I've communicated to you? The answer is obviously yes.
But I don't think that.
It's
I
not
don't
about
think
whether
that
or
you
not
can-
it's not about whether or not you think that I am. It's about whether or not I can be. And the answer is like absolutely I could be.
Well, you could, but if you are, okay, if you say you're happy but you're truly not happy, then that means that you're lying about being happy.
Well,
Like
no,
if
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
You
No,
got
no.
your situation. You got your situation with your mom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're still happy despite that situation that you got with your mom right now. I'm sorry, I'm going personal.
Oh, it
if
doesn't
you-
matter.
if
It
you don't
doesn't.
like-
I brought it up. It doesn't. Yeah, you're
Okay.
good. You're good.
Cool. So you are happy despite the situation that you're having with your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Are you lying about being happy?
I would say I'm not lying, but I could be wrong. You understand? Those are two different things.
No,
right?
no. The thing is that the way that you feel is the way that you feel. You feel
so
happy right now, right?
So hold on. No. Let me communicate what I mean by wrong. So there was a big problem with housewives during like the 50s where they would say and even believe that they're happy, but their like mental health was taking severe tolls. They were actually very lonely and miserable, but because everyone was saying the exact life you're living is the best life, you're at the apex of it, you're happy, they convinced themselves that they actually were happy. This was a thing, a documented thing, that they were convincing themselves to be happy. Now, I'm not saying that like every single housewife wasn't happy, but there was a documented thing of housewives thinking like, I am happy, and the reason why is because their family would say, the life that you're living is a life that a woman,
it's normal.
it's a good, not normal, it's good. You live a great, perfect life. And so they convince themselves they have a happy life, and then like in their fucking later years they have a mental breakdown or they realize they were never happy. Same thing happens as well with really rich guys. This happens on like their fucking deathbed. Well, they'll realize, fuck, my life was actually ass, grinding 90 hours or a fucking a week, 90-hour work weeks, getting all this fucking cash, and I didn't spend enough time with my kids. I didn't do any of that, but I felt like I was doing such a great thing. That's a well-documented thing as well, where they thought that they were doing great and phenomenal things, and then they realized, fuck, I was actually wrong. That can happen. And I believe that it's possible that's what was happening with the documentation about the virginity marriage thing.
The thing is that you're saying that the situation with the women's in the 50s is the majority of women. I don't really think it was the majority of women.
I don't think it was the majority.
There's always going to be cases, yeah, because in everything that you set up, there's always going to be the anomalies. There's always going to be something that's out of the norm. For example, I can have a kid with nine fingers. Doesn't mean that having 9 fingers, it's the norm. So everything's gonna have anomalies. Doesn't mean that it's a standard for we can't make it a standard. Standard is the other way. Even though that there's some situations that people are gonna say, yeah, I truly wasn't happy. Most people were. There were some outliers that weren't. What you're doing, and I understand what you're doing. You're taking the studies of people that are the outlier, and you're making it like the rule when they're actually an exception.
I'm not making I'm not making them the rule. I'm saying that just self-reported happiness is not enough for me to confirm this entire worldview that would crack down on women's virginity. So the studies that you're referencing about women's virginity and them having a happier relationship, like I said, I gave several reasons why that's not conclusive enough for me. One, we would expect any woman that has a very successful relationship after virginity, like one that lasts years and years and years, long enough to be in that data set of 10 plus years, would probably have a happy relationship. And the reason why is because that individual got it right the first time. Whereas, like, there might be different people that have those long-lasting relationships later in life that had to make compromises, that have to deal with whatever, because time gets in the way, right? The way that works. One, two was the fact that I didn't like the self-reporting of happiness. I don't believe self-reporting of happiness is a like kryptonite, like a silver bullet method of dictating whether or not somebody actually is happy. I don't think it is. Especially when we deal with expansive experiences. I don't think it is. Because, like, an example, again, was the people inside of, like, huts. If there's people in huts right now that get surveyed and all of them are, like, euphoric about life and love life, and, you know, obviously we have not that inside of, you know, our society, would we then make the argument that we should return to huts? I don't think so. I don't want that. Fuck that. I would prefer the society we have now, and then, like, maybe an optional thing if you want huts. But that's the system we're inhabiting right now, where it's like, if women want to be virgins, they can. But if women also want to fuck around, they can. And I think that's the best. I think that's the best way of looking at it. If you feel like being a virgin is best for you to be able to go about your life, be a fucking virgin. You have the right to do so. If you think fucking a dude every week is the best way for your life, then fuck a dude every week.
But the thing is that you're advocating for people having the choice. Yeah, I don't mind people having the choice. Everybody has a choice. I'm just saying that if you choose one path, you cannot complain about the results in the future. The problem is that right now we're seeing women over 40s that are reporting to being really unhappy because they prioritize other things that weren't conducive to longevity. You know, later stages in life, you know, it's not you're not gonna have the results that you want. Do you disagree with that?
Hold on. So are you just saying that women in their 40s are regretting not, like, having
There's
kids?
a lot of women right now. There's a lot of women over 40s that are the most unhappy demographically of women are women over 40, unmarried, and without kids, without children. Reportedly, the most unhappy demographic.
Like I said, I don't like I generally don't like self-reported happiness, but I'll work with it because, like I worked with the virginity thing, I'll work with the example, and I've seen similar information. But it to the unhappiness of the single unmarried women or whatever, I've seen information independent of it that also does, I think, lend to the idea of them being significantly more unhappy, like mental health issues that stem from, like, the stress and shit like that. So I've seen more evidence than just the virgin thing, but wait, so are you asking if I disagree with the existence of that stat, is what you're asking?
No, I'm asking if you disagree with the statement. Most women, the higher demographic of people being unhappy on later stages in life are 40-year-old women or above, without being married and without having a kid. And the common denominator of this people that you know they surveyed, it's that all of them are either hyper focused on their job, they fucked around and had fun. They never wanted to settle down because, you know, they always thought they could do better. So those are three things that were common on this type of people. So that's why I still think what I think. If you're having a problem that people are reporting later in stages in their life that they wish they didn't did, and it's pretty evident that we gotta change the way that we're doing things. And right now,
If you agree with that statement, then you would agree with like working long hours is bad. Then as well.
I do agree that working long hours is bad. Yeah, I think
And
that
we-
men
and we
also
should,
need to have some. Men should also spend time with their families. Yeah, but you're saying that most men that
Okay,
work
then
90 hours a week, those are hyper what's the word? Usually these people are really assertive, really work drive. They have really work driven, and those are not the norms. Those are the outliers. That's like the 1% of the 1% that really works that many hours and sacrifice absolutely everything to be at the top. Those are the CEOs, the CFOs, the CMOs. Those people are
so the reason why I'm bringing up what I am is because I've seen similar information about men where there's isn't it, I'm pretty sure conversely, men, the highest group to commit suicide is upper middle class white men.
Yeah, but the actual study shows that both sexes actually think about suiciding at the same rate. It's just that the men choose more lethal and they actually succeed more. I acknowledge.
Okay, but no.
That
The whole point of me bringing that up was to illustrate that it seems like maybe being career focused. Excuse me.
You're
the issue.
taking one of the three things that I gave you. You're taking the career focus, but I also said unmarried and no family.
I don't know. I don't know what the stats show for those white men who kill themselves, if they are unmarried or married. I don't know what the stats are on those.
Men that are hyper focused on work.
Do you agree that the woman who is 40 who has no kids and no shit is probably overwhelmingly going to be career focused women?
Overwhelmingly, yeah.
Okay. So I'm because I agree and I've looked into it. I'm lending more towards the idea that the issue is being career focused and thinking that money is going to make you happy or promotions are going to make you happy, more than I am leaning towards the idea that like women fucked a bunch of guys in their 20s.
The thing is that's part of it. That's part of it, because if as a man, if you're not settling down, you're fucking around, it's okay because you can still find someone in your later stages that's much younger than you. And you've seen this happen a lot of times. You see this 40, 50s with 20s and low 30s women because, they are wealthy and they're the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And all the women gravitates towards them. So they got options. But when you flip the sexes and there's a woman that's 40, 50 with over $1 million a year, you don't see them trying to have sex with 20-year-old. Maybe fuck them, but not to take them seriously. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Kind of. I don't know. What is your point?
So as sadly, and I say sadly because truly I think that this is unfair for women. I truly think that this is really unfair for women. As time passes, women's value gets lower with ages. Not always, not exclusively for everybody, not everyone. But most of them, their values lower as guys' values gets higher with time, because they get more mature. They tend to do.
What does this have to do with anything?
That it's not the same for a woman, at their 40s being, what's the word? Shit, I forgot the word. It's not the same a woman being sad because she has focus on career and neglected the other two. Usually when men try to suicide at 40s, it's because they're having some financial issues, most of them, or their women left them. So the reasons why people are being, suicidal at those ages or being sad about at those ages are very different from each other. Women usually it's because they need a family and they think that they can't have it. Men, it's because they have a family and they can't support them, so they just delete themselves. Of course, there's always gonna be.
So hold on. Even if I agree with that, what does that have to do with any of the points that I've made?
Well, you said that.
It has to do with career, and in both situations, it's career. It's that the individual thinks that the career is what makes the person who they are. Like that the career or some education was going to be what makes them happy or feel fulfilled in their life. And in both situations, it isn't. The woman thinks that she's on her girl boss shit and getting a STEM degree is going to make her feel strong, independent, and fulfilled. It doesn't. And the dude thinks that trying to get as much wealth as possible is going to make him feel like a man. And then when he can't provide it, he realizes he has no self-worth outside of that. And it doesn't make him...
True. When they both realized they did wrong, they did it for the different reasons. Women neglected family, so they feel like they lost on something and they're really sad when they're over 40. Men neglected family for their jobs, so I don't know. Men are sad because they couldn't achieve something in their work and support their family. That's why they're sad. Like the reason both of them are might be sad, but the reasons why they're sad are completely opposite. Women tend to be sadder over 40 if they neglect family, children's being married, all for their careers. Men are sad when they're older because they got their career, but it's not enough to support their family.
Like I said, I don't think it's that simple. I think you can see lots of men who have supported their family their entire life and realize they should have spent more time with their family.
Yeah, but again, those are the hyper men, the 1% of the 1%. We cannot.
Well,
use
obviously,
that
it's going to be the 1% of the 1% because those men are the ones who are working that hard.
Yeah, but the amount of men that actually make it there, it's so insignificant statistically, versus women that are hyper focused on their career and they neglect family.
The point isn't to say that there's a similar amount of men who go to their deathbed saying, "I wish I spent more time with their kids," which I actually feel like is significant. But it isn't to say that there's the same amount that do that as there are women who are like sad cat ladies in their 40s. The point is to illustrate that the pursuit of making money and earning promotions or whatever isn't a gendered thing as being like something that can make you miserable. Do I agree that men, by and large, are going to have a better life if they are more career focused because women's dating habits lend more to valuing men based on those career choices in comparison to men valuing women? Like, men don't give a fuck what your job is. Yeah, of course, like a woman who earns a bunch of money is going to be less valuable than a man who earns a bunch of money. But that's kind of beyond the point, no?
I don't really think it's beyond the point. It goes hand to hand. The thing is that seeing it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. But I do see where you're coming from. I could agree with you. I don't completely, but I see where you're coming from. In the future, if I educate myself in the situation a little bit more, I might be able to draw the same conclusions that you do. Just for now, we gotta agree to disagree on that. But I do understand where you're coming from, though.
So then let's just go back to recap over why ought women be virgins? Because we already established we can't enforce it in society. That's what you said. But we can, like, why, excuse me, Why ought women be virgins? 1, and then 2, what should we do about it?
Why ought women be virgins?
Why should
Again, because if they have nothing else to compare it to, the statistically, they can register being happier more than less. That's what we're getting right now. I know it sounds dumb because it's really simple what I'm saying, but maybe it's not really that complicated. It could be. I could be wrong.
So no, let's establish that the information, the data, as you've seen it, is correct. That women, when they have multiple sexual partners, actually are more miserable in the relationships, right? I think at that point, we still don't crack down on women being virgins. What we should say is very simple. If you value a relationship, if you value a happy relationship, don't have sex. I don't think we should enforce virginity on people, even if we have hard data. Like, even if I agree with you, the data is ironclad. Ironclad. I don't think that's enough to enforce, like, a social norm of being a virgin to women. What we would say instead is,
both
hey,
sexes, not just women, to both sexes, to be honest.
Okay, sure, yeah, both sexes. But I still don't think that's enough to enforce that kind of a thing.
Like I heard Destiny talk about this the other day. He said something about shotgun weddings and stuff not being, I don't really want to count shotgun weddings because I don't think those people register being happier in a longer life. She just had a whoopsie and was forced to marry the man. So I don't really want to count them as being a demographic of being happy. I don't really think anybody on a shotgun wedding is happy. So just gonna leave them out. So again, if the less partner, both, not just women, both, the less partner that each other has, preferably 0, that I still think that people are just gonna be happier when they get together, because that's supposed to be, I'm not religious, but for some reason I think that's the ultimate goal for both of them. Like we both sexes want to have sex. Let's not deny that both sexes want to have sex. Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I got a huge spider in my fucking room and I fucking hate spiders.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Good luck.
No, he can keep the room. I can get out.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, both sexes need one sex.
Wait, so hold on.
Virginity, if we value virginity, we're gonna force men to actually commit to women to have sex. So that's why I think that virginity is really important. Like if men
if we make men commit to women to have sex, why is that good?
Let's see if I can frame this correctly, because I think that the couple times that I've tried to say this, I'm not saying it correctly. So okay, men and women want sex. We established that.
Yep.
Right now, is it? Do you think it's easier to get sex, or from previous years?
If you're a woman.
If you're a woman, okay. And if you're a man, do you think that it's not easy to know you just
statistically speaking, it is harder for men to get sex.
It's always harder for men.
Women no. Than it was in the past. Like more men were having consistent sex in the past than there is now. We have a growing problem of inceldom amongst men.
I agree. Yeah, you're right on that. See how I can frame this. Thing is that I lost my train of thought a little bit. Well, and you hit me with a couple of good arguments as well, so I'm kind of revaluing myself and trying to frame it correctly, because
Well, the idea that so let's take for instance the sexless men, the men like me that went years and years and years of their life without having sex, right? Like an inordinate amount of time, at least by most people's standards. All right, sexless men. We are not any better because we had to get in relationships to get sex. So I'm not seeing where the like chads who can like cruise through women are like better or worse people necessarily.
There's gonna be less men that's gonna take women and you know pass them around or play with them if women actually value themselves, because you can't pull that card with everybody.
Yeah,
If
but we haven't even established that that is a like. So if we establish that both men and women, right, or let's just say I agree with you that both men and women are worse off when it comes to long-term dating prospects for if they've slept around a bunch, right? Then I don't understand the problem. Then what is the issue with me fucking women, a bunch of women, or a woman fucking a bunch of men if they just don't value the idea of being in a long-term relationship with someone?
If they don't value the idea of being in a long-term relationship, so you mean like what's the problem with having flings?
So like, yeah, so if we agree with the idea that having consistent sex or like not sex outside of a relationship makes it more difficult to, or having multiple sexual partners makes it more difficult to settle down with one person, then I don't feel like that's an argument to crack down on virginity. I feel like that's an argument to just communicate to people, hey, if you want a long-term relationship, don't have a bunch of sex. And even still, that's what I just said isn't true, because if your argument truly is the experience thing, it wouldn't be about sex. It would be about relationships. You understand that, right?
Thing is that having a relationship, at least for men, yeah, there's gonna be situations where you actually enjoy your partner and stuff, but even though that you enjoy your partner's company and everything, you still won't have sex at the end of the day. Even though everything else checks out, you really like her, she's enjoyable to be with, you still want sex, right?
I think sex is a very important component for both men and women.
Okay, yeah, we established that, we agree with that. So if that women that you enjoy, that you love, that you like keeping around, but she's not giving you, you know, the sets, and you really want it because you like her, not because you just, oh shit, do I really want to have sex with her? No, but because you like her, then you're gonna have to commit to that woman eventually if you really want to have sex with her. So you're gonna have a marriage and gonna have sex and gonna have a happy life because you got a family now. You can start, you know, your own things together as a unit. So yeah, I think that's way better. I think I'm oversimplifying it, but I think that
Hey, so my problem is the experience thing that you're talking about, like men and women having experiences is what prevents them from being happy inside of relationships. Why doesn't that hold on?
Because you're comparing.
Yeah, you're comparing it. Why doesn't that apply outside of sex? Like, meaning if a woman had, let's say, 50 different relationships but only had sex twice, why does that not apply to relationships?
She had 50 different relationships, but she only had sex with 2 people.
Yeah, she has like a fuck ton of relationships. Because for me, personally, I see those as like one and the same as like red flag. I don't like a woman with a high body count for like a very high body count for separate reasons, and it sounds like you or a lot of men I could potentially agree with too. I don't like women with high body counts because it communicates to me a different lifestyle. You like partying, you like socializing, you like doing whatever. Like, you don't get 50 bodies sitting inside watching anime all day. It's not possible, right? Mm-hmm. So, but even though I fucking hate anime, I much more relate with somebody that's sitting inside watching anime all day than I do somebody who's outside enough to get 50 bodies, right? Same thing, however, would apply with 50 relationships. So I'm the same way. If you got 50 bodies, you got a different lifestyle than me. If you have 50 relationships, you got a different lifestyle than me. If you have 50 relationships, you probably have some like weird attachment issues or something. But like my whole point is supposed to be that that's a experience that you're having with consistently different people. Would it not apply to your argument? So I don't know why you're focusing on virginity when you should be focusing on experiences. Like, wouldn't you say the same thing about a woman that's dated 10 different dudes but never slept with any of them?
How old do you have to be as a woman to actually date 10 people and not have sex with them? And the reason why I ask this, is to base my answer over.
I think you could be like 23 and get away with it.
23, okay.
Yep, you meet a 23-year-old girl that's been through 10, 15, whatever relationships, hasn't fucked the guy, been very short-term relationships or whatever, I don't know, and yeah.
They're probably short-term relationships by today's standards, because most men won't, if she's not putting out, they're not going to waste their time. But that's today. And
so what I'm saying though is that fits your argument of experience really well. When we're talking about deductive thinking here, what you said was clear. Women with a lot of experiences compare you. That's true. This is how humans work. It's women and men. If you have a lot of experiences, you compare people to those experiences. So you have a woman with 10 or 15 different experiences with men, right? Mm-hmm. She just hasn't fucked them. So by your own argument, deductively speaking, she would be just as off limits as a woman that's fucked 15 dudes.
And she will, yeah. Thinking about it, yeah.
Okay,
right.
So if they have, so it's not about sex. It's just about experiences.
Yeah, well, then we can frame it like that, yeah.
Okay. I appreciate the consistency. I'm not sure I agree though. I think it depends. But
wait. Okay. So you agree that if I said experience instead of virginity, you would agree, but since I used the word virginity, you kind of disagree over it?
No. Based on what you've described to me, you are consistent in your position on experience. If you include dating, like even a woman who is a virgin who has dated 15 guys is off limits to you, in the same way a chick who's fucked 15 dudes is off limits to you.
There's again, like my current girlfriend, she's an anomaly. I gotta say that she's an anomaly. She had sex with 2-3 guys before me. She probably dated someone that went out, held hand, maybe kissed, and went out for ice creams and whatever when she was younger. But the way that she moves, the way that she portrays herself, the way that she carries herself is the better word. That's what's really important to me. And the way that she does that shows me that even though that she had more than the 3 relationships that she had, she still respects herself. She still values all things, all traditional things. That's something that I really enjoy, and I think that everybody enjoys. We just don't like to admit it.
That I think is the core thing. I don't have no issue with what you just said. The thing is, we're gonna value different things, right? Mm-hmm. So your viewing of her valuing herself is gonna be different than other people's view of them valuing themselves. Okay.
Maybe I'm trying to push the way that I see things into others.
I think it might be a bit of projection, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree with you that a lot of men like women who have low body counts and stuff, but I don't think that in and of itself means that there is a valuable thing there, that there is a good reason that is the case. I think there was a good reason for thousands, literally millions of years of history. There was a good reason. I'm not sure that reason plays out anymore, like we already established.
But the thing is that if it worked for over millions of years, like you say, why do we have to change it? Why do we have to change it if it actually worked for over thousands and thousands?
It worked well enough to get our species to continue fucking each other. if that's what you mean. Because that's for millions of years, that's all, well, for animals, that's all they need is just, hey, can we procreate? Yes, keep going. Just keep going. Doesn't matter. If we're raping each other to be able to have kids, doesn't matter. Just keep going. You know, that's like what ducks do, right?
Yeah,
like, for instance, they just fucking rape each other constantly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's like, that's how evolution works. So then when we get civilized and a bit sophisticated, we kind of go, do we need to keep doing this? You know? Like, it's natural to want to.
You're right. You're right. Do we need to keep doing this? And so we, for over 60, maybe no more, I think 80 years now. 80? No, a little bit less. Maybe 60 years now. We've been trying to juggle everything and you know change the way that we do things, and we noticing that's the detriment of family unit. Don't you think that gives you a red flag? Like, we actually, for 60 years, we've been trying to change things how they were for millennia, and everything is not working out. That doesn't give you a red flag?
So this is one thing where I will break bread a little bit more with conservatives than probably any liberal you'll ever meet. I think we should be extremely cautious about breaking traditions, because there's traditions that are made for a reason of thousands of years of history. And
That's
I
why
think
they're
that
traditional.
Sure, yeah, I agree. And I think we should be careful and not just like, well, it's old people shit, so who cares? I think we should figure out why these traditions were in place and really carefully think about them. I think just haphazardly saying like, oh, well, it's just patriarchal way of thinking. I don't think it's generally ever that simple. And so I think we should be more careful. But I think we've been getting it right pretty well. I think we got women's liberation pretty right. I think we're going a bit far with the man hating. I think how we're. Yeah, I think it is really only a bit, and the reason why I say it's only a bit is because you can socially get away with shitting on men, but like ass meets grass, like a lot of we don't see, like we see even women calling out other women who like make false rape allegations or anything, and that's what I consider to be substantial. Like if we were at the point where like women were not calling other women out for false rape allegations, false sexual assault allegations, then we're in trouble. But like the fact that you can just shit on men incessantly on TikTok with no repercussions, that sucks, but that's what I'd call a bit. Black or minority issues, like racial issues, I think we're doing pretty well. I think, again, we're going a bit far where we're just allowing people to unnecessarily shit on white people because they're colonizers, or whatever.
Much it's a one-way racism. Like black, and I'm not black. I'm white passing, but I'm Latino, so I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's kind of fucked up that black can have a pass of calling white people whatever slurs that they want, and white people can't retaliate because otherwise it's deemed as racism and the force of the law can drop on them and shit. So yeah, I think that's
I think we have gone a bit too far with those things for sure, but I I think that is a bit too far, you know. So yeah, no, I think we've done a pretty good job at looking at certain traditions and saying fuck it to these things. Overall, we've done a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job, and I would like to see us keep going. We're trying to figure things out.
So you don't think we should go back into a traditional way of, relationships? Because that's all.
What do you think is a traditional way of relationships?
Well, the way that has worked for millennia. Because it worked.
Well, millennia.
I do understand what you're saying. Like,
we were we were like raising each other's fucking kids inside of like huts and shit. For millennia. Are you talking about like just like a wife and a father or a husband and like 2 kids? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the family unit. It can be 2 kids, it can be 1, it can be 4. It doesn't matter. You can have, but yeah, a family unit. I think that the destruction of the family unit is something that's really.
What do you think is destroying the family unit?
It's multiple things. I think.
Because as much as I hear like I'm not trying to say you're a conservative. As much as I hear conservatives talk about people trying to destroy the family unit, I don't think really anybody is trying to. Well, I mean, maybe the people that are super pro, like single parenthood or whatever, but I don't think that's the case really either.
And I think that's one of the things that it's actually destroying the single parenthood.
I don't think there's very many people.
I'm gonna say this: I'm not a conservative. I'm always been in the center.
Okay.
But I have always leaned more to the left, except the last 5 years. I have started to swing a little bit more to the right because I think that the left has gone too far, way too far in a direction that I don't really want to see society going through.
Well, so
I kind of lean a little bit more to the right now, but I don't consider myself a conservative. Although I do appreciate and value a little things of conservatism. Not all, though.
okay, so let's talk about the family unit. What about the family unit is being eroded? Let's talk about single parents
I think
as
the
well.
single motherhood is a big
Okay, so
thing.
what are we supposed to do about single mothers?
Incentivize people to stay together instead of making it so easy to split up.
Well, how? Do we not provide financial assistance to single mothers?
In some situations, I don't think that in every situation we should. Because I don't really want to see a mother, also being along with their child because a chat fucked her and she never knew about she never saw him again. So I don't really want her to be in the streets just because of that. So in some situations we can consider it, but most of them, like right now, no, I don't think so.
So most single parents should not be provided financial assistance.
Mm-hmm. I do think that most people, and I say it with a lot of sadness because here in Puerto Rico, it's a culture pretty much. It's a culture of people being taken care of by the government, and sadly, I lived in Florida for 5 years. I lived in New York for a year, and I'm moving to Dallas soon. But it's something that I grew up is watching this culture of people. I'm gonna call them tribes because I don't know. I just want to separate them, but this tribe of people that actually lives off welfare and lives off government assistance, and they've actually said that I prefer not working because if I start working, the government is gonna give me less money. And I have actually interviewed some women that says, yeah, I've actually have 4 kids because the more kids that I have, the more money the government gives me. I'm not saying this is the norm. I'm pretty sure this is a really low percentage of the people, but there's still people that do it. That's why I say that welfare, even though it's necessary, I don't think that we have to give it to everybody. There has to be some standards that there's none right now. And people are abusing the system.
I think we can. So on a couple of those things, I've heard this argument multiple times before. I've discussed this. I think on a couple of those things, you can make very realistic, comprehensive changes to make sure it doesn't happen. So let's talk about the one about I can't really get a job, otherwise I'm going to be able to do that. An ease-off system is one of the things promoted by people, and also a system where if somebody gets a job, they still get a little bit of the benefits that they previously had gotten before. That's more of an issue of genuinely providing them more money. You understand? So the issue with the getting the job thing, which I've looked at, I'd say to a decent degree, is that there is a certain whether they are employed. My bad, my phone. Whether they are employed,
don't worry.
Or not. Whether they are employed or not will govern how much money they make and will govern possibly whether or not they're paid at all. And so an ease-off system where they're given, quite a bit of money over a period of time or given enough money still getting assistance while they have that job to make it so it's not beneficial to go off of it is pretty important. Because what's happening is they earn like $1,000 or $2,000 more a year by having a job in comparison to not having a job. And so there will be some people that will choose to just not have a job because it's not substantial enough more money to warrant getting a job, right? So that'd be an issue of paying them more, not paying them less. Because if you don't provide them aid or whatever, you can, sure, they might get a job, but like they might get a shitty job, or they might end up potentially having lackluster care for their child or whatever. So I'd prefer a ease on system, ease off system or something to incentivize getting a job. In regards to having multiple kids for more money, that I have heard of. I'm not sure how common that is.
It's more common here in Puerto Rico, at least. Not gonna say that in the entirety of the U.S. Puerto Rico, okay, but Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. even though that we're not officially a state. So we are ruled by the same rules that are in the United States. So that's why I'm using him as a comparison to the United States. Right now, there's women that gets. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna kid you.
Thank you for the $20.
$3,000 a month between food stamps, welfare, and something else. Section 8, I think it is. Money to just because she has 5 kids.
Okay.
Do you think that's fair? Just because she has 5 kids, no job or anything, she gets 3,000, maybe a little bit more,
sure,
monthly. You think that's fair?
Could be. I don't know how much 3,000 is worth over there.
Okay, well, 3,000 here goes pretty well, yeah. The average salary over here, it's like, I think 18,000, maybe 20. That's the average. So getting $3,000 a month for not working, how are you gonna incentivize those type of people to go out and have a job if they're actually better off not having one?
Genuinely, if there is 5 kids and there is a single parent, I would unironically rather pay for that parent to be home with their kids and working with their kids than the other shit. Genuinely. But if you're talking about how do I de-incentivize people from having an inordinate amount of children, like out of wedlock or something prior to that.
Different parents and all that, yeah.
I would say you could do like as maybe ease off, ease on systems or whatever, like I was talking about with how the employment could go. But genuinely, I would say that there's, at that point, I'm more concerned with the kids than I am concerned with the person. Because I think you're a fucked up person if you're bringing 5 kids into this world all on food stamps. That way you can get more. Like, I think you're a terrible person, and I'm not sure I can just de-incentivize you to do that, because de-incentivizing you to do that would cause the kids harm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I would rather, and I understand this would be the case, kind of incentivize that behavior. Maybe I could say if you have like fucking 6 kids and you're a single parent, maybe I could say I would be willing to pay billions for a fucking auditing agency like CPS to come in and make sure every dime is spent on the kids and not like fucking apparel or something that I know people do. Like trade food stamps in for money and then buy like whatever the fuck that the parent wants. Which I know happens, but I would rather do that than stop giving them money, because I don't want those kids to be fucked over.
What you're saying, I agree with you, but it doesn't exist over here right now.
Well, okay, so then if you hold on, then if you agree with me and we both agree on that, then that system, it doesn't stop the people from getting money, right? So let's even.
But it audits them, and the problem is that the way that people are using their money. You go to these people's house, and they got a massive sound system, maybe an 84 inches TV on their house that's QLED, because the food stamps and everything else, here food stamps, they give you money to retrieve every week or every 2 weeks. I don't remember how much is it, but they give you some sort of money to retrieve every 2 weeks or a week, on top of the money that you got for the food that you're gonna pay with the food stamps. So what they do is they actually sell those, what you mentioned, they sell those dollars into getting dollars.
Well,
in their
but
hands.
we just agreed that the solution to this isn't to give them less money. It would be at most to audit them.
No. I mean, that's a solution that you brought that I can agree with.
Okay.
I do still think that, you know, giving them less, or at least finding a way to incentivizing people to actually get a job, it's better. But I can see
how do
the
you
way
incentivize to get them a job?
Well, welfare used to be in the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong. They used to be that in order for you to keep getting welfare, you had to prove to the state that you were actually and actively trying to get a job, and it wasn't forever. Like
I think that's the case. Yeah.
That's the case. That's not the case here. That
Or
was
sorry,
the case
I think
when
that
they
was the case. I don't know.
Well, when they implemented that here, back in the 1960s, 1970s, I don't remember. I'm not really sure. Maybe a little bit earlier, but anyway, when they implemented that, it was incentivized. For example, the government housing was meant for people to actually live there for 6 months while they were working, and they had to pay absolutely nothing to be living there, but they had to show that they were trying to look for work, they were trying to get money, they were trying, you know, to find a house for them to move into. And right now the system apparently changed, or they just didn't enforce it, and now you got generations of families that have been living in the same area, in the same government housing, and taking more and more and more money from the government through food stamps and welfare, and they just established themselves in those public buildings. And that's an issue, because they're not contributing absolutely anything to the pool of money through taxes, except for when they buy stuff, which they do, obviously.
Well, the whole point would be that we would assume that their kids get an education through the school system and then become productive members of society.
But they're not. That's the thing. That I would agree that this will work if their kids would get a good job. There's obviously outliers, like everything, but most of them, they just drop out. And I have seen this from experience. Most of them drop out. Most of them decide to stay living near their parents, which they're just gonna rent another room on one of these government buildings, not pay absolutely anything, and the cycle continues, because that's all they knew. There's no way to incentivize people to actually better themselves.
No, there absolutely is, and it has worked. I will say, like, public school systems are not what I would want them to be, but there absolutely are people that come from single-parent households or whatever that become productive members of society that get a job. This is a thing that happens. Do I agree it's at rates that I would want them to be?
There's some people that do it. I'm not disagreeing that there's some people that do it. I'm saying
a majority of people that come from single-parent households get a job.
No, but I'm not saying that the majority, I'm not saying that they don't get a job. I'm saying that a lot of these people, they prefer to perpetuate the situations that they've been growing up as. So they prefer having a bunch of kids living in the same area where their mothers were, and just living off food stamps and welfare. This is something that's happening here in Puerto Rico. I'm not gonna talk specifically here in Puerto Rico, but I'm pretty sure that it happens in other places in the U.S. because it's not uniquely here.
I mean, I can't speak on Puerto Rico, but I don't know what this has to do with single parents, because this is definitely something that happens.
We keep incentivizing people to stay as a single parent. It's more profitable for them to stay a single parent than actually start a family and getting out of welfare and everything. That's the thing.
I don't think that's how people go about it. I think what is far more common is there will be like a single parent, usually a single mom, and then just nobody wants to date them. I think that they will often want to be in a relationship with somebody, but they don't do it because they can't really find a partner.
I don't think that we're gonna agree on this topic either, because I'm telling you from experience that I have actually seen it. I actually gone out
I
You
mean,
know,
I've seen it too.
serving-
Just to be clear, I've seen it too. What you're talking about is like women
Yeah, but
deliberately
you
not
think
being.
those are those situations? You're saying that what I'm referring to are the outliers, and that most people that are there just actually go out and work. When I'm saying the complete opposite, it's not. It's the people that go out and work. They're significant, but they're not the majority. The majority actually abuse the system.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, we are on opposite ends, and that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially with the dating thing. I don't know. Would you date a single mother?
I have.
Would you want to get married to a single mother?
I would, but the thing is that
Do you think a majority of men would?
I don't really know. I would think I think that majority of men, myself included, will prefer someone with no kids.
Yeah,
But
I think the
if
vast.
the woman meets all the requirement and she has one kid, not two, one kid, we can come.
So,
You know, I
so
can consider
this
it.
is what is more likely in my case, and I've watched enough Kevin Samuels, right, to tell you that this is probably how it works. Is a bit of a joke, but like seriously, I've seen enough single parents, or single, especially mothers, that are lonely, that want a relationship, but no one wants to date a single mom. No one wants to date.
Maybe it's not even because she's single mom. Because obviously, if I'm gonna date a
A
single
lot
mom,
of it is
I'm
because
gonna
they're
bet her a lot more than I'm gonna bet a known child woman. You know.
You're gonna what her?
I'm gonna vet a woman with a kid. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna vet her even more. I'm just gonna see the way that she treats her kids, see the way that she acts, all of that. I kind of, it's unfair for them, but I tend to be a little bit more, a bit harsher when I'm gonna date a single mother versus,
Why?
Because she's a single mother.
And you think that's like a red flag in and of itself?
For me,
Uh-huh.
not necessarily, but it can be, yeah. So that's why I bet them more.
Okay.
It's not exclusive,
but
it could
so essentially what I was trying to say is, of the situations I've seen, because I agree with you, I've seen the situations where women will say that they don't want to be with somebody, they won't get partners because they want to like keep getting money off the government. I don't think it's generally that simple. I think it might be a lot of women trying to either one, cope with the fact that there's very little men that want them, or two, they could legitimately be, terrible people like that, but I don't think there's very many people that are like that. I don't think there is like the millions of women that are fucking out here trying to abuse the welfare system by having kids they don't really care about. I don't think that's true. I think what's far more likely is that they might feel like it's like going to get a little bit easier for them if they maybe have another kid or something, keep trying to get in relationships with people. Something that I've seen is if you have a kid out of wedlock, you're probably more likely to have another kid out of wedlock because there's certain habits that you do during dating, like for instance, not using protection, not being somebody that gets an abortion, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're somebody who doesn't believe in abortion, you're probably more likely to have a kid out of wedlock if in nowadays age, because if you are fine with getting an abortion, you're really never going to have a kid that you don't want. And so these people who aren't okay with abortions, try and fuck or whatever, have a relationship, it doesn't work out, well, they got a kid. And then they'll try another relationship and, well, they got another kid. And they try another relationship and now they got another kid or whatever. And so it becomes a little bit more difficult. So I think when we're talking about keeping the family unit together and shit, I think honestly we should be talking about contraceptives. I think that's what matters a lot more, is planned pregnancy. Yeah. I wanted to hear what your take was, but I think that's the key to get like good families for children, is making sure that people have kids when they want to have kids and when they can have kids, not just
And do you think that virginity doesn't take part of that?
No, because there's Plan B and shit. You don't need to be.
Yeah, okay, but just because we got the technology to prevent you from getting pregnant doesn't mean that you can go out. You should go out and have fun because
I never said
if
you
something
should.
goes-
I said you
No,
could.
no, no, I know you're not saying that, but I'm saying that if we have the technology, doesn't mean that you can go out and whore around because we have the technology
You literally can, and you won't get pregnant, or sorry, you won't have a kid unless you don't want to.
Okay, but should we do that just
Why
because we have
not?
the technology?
So I view it as I have a philosophy of you need to convince somebody that something is morally wrong, otherwise everything is morally neutral. So everything is morally neutral at default, and you need to convince somebody on why not to do something. So when you say
I can convince you that it's morally wrong, I think it's morally wrong, but I don't have an argument to present to you that might be able to change your mind. So.
Well, that's unlucky because I'm a man and therefore a deductive thinker. And so I need a deductive argument on why women should not be using Plan B and shit to go fuck.
No, I understand. It's cool.
So yeah, I think I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. If a woman wants to go fuck around and be on birth control or something, so be it. I think it matters a lot more to
She can do it. You're right. She can do it, but
if
then
she wants
can't
to
complain. Yeah, sure. She can't complain about the outcomes later in life.
About like what?
People, using her just for sex or not actually finding a man because somebody might value purity over, and then she's gonna be miserable because she probably fucked a lot of people and none of them took them seriously. Those are outcomes which that's fine if you want to try that, that's cool, like you said. Then problem is that people keep on complaining about the outcomes of things.
I think you could still complain about that. So usually, for instance, I'm not sure if you were there when I was talking about the women.
If I jump from a bridge and I break both my legs, can I complain?
So that the problem is you're in that reality. You're talking about fucking gravity, and the other reality you're talking about men that value purity. These are completely disanalogous. If I'm a woman that's out there and I want to have a bunch of sex with a bunch of people, and then there's a legion, let's say the majority of guys are like, oh, I don't want to date you because you have 3 bodies, but I'm sorry, I'm going to bring this up again. Like you, they don't have a deductive argument. They have an emotional argument. It is absolutely valid for you to be upset about that because they don't have a deductive argument. They don't have an argument that compels you to say that what you did was wrong. In the case that you gave off of jumping off a bridge, the compelling argument is fucking gravity, right? You can't complain about breaking your legs if you jump off a bridge because gravity is absolute. That shit is going to happen. However, what is not absolute is that you have to be disgusted by a woman who has had more than 5 bodies. So you can complain about things that you believe are not deductively reasoned by people, right? So for instance, like as a black man, I can walk outside inside of stereotypically thuggish clothing, and then let's say somebody thinks of me as a thug or a threat, and then they violently attack me because they think I'm going to attack them or something. I can be like, I can recognize what I did, put me in a position where that is more likely, but I can also complain about that happening because it comes from an unjust place. We shouldn't be attacking black people just because they're wearing thuggish clothing. You understand?
I do.
Okay, so women can complain about that situation because it's not justified or whatever, but would I have less sympathy for a woman complaining about it? Yeah, because she knew what she was doing. Right? I would have less sympathy in comparison to like being completely blindsided by something that she had no idea about. But I still think it's valid for her to complain. I would still have some sympathy for her in that position, for sure, because I think it's unjust as well.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good, bro.
Hi, dude. It was fun talking to you. I actually went to Destiny the other day. He pulled me, and I was so fucking nervous.
Yeah,
it's the first time. Yeah, it happens. So talking to you today, I think that I was a little bit more calmer. I don't know if it's it's destiny. It's destiny,
it's Steven, dude.
It's Steven, dude.
Oh gosh. Can't believe
Yeah, dude,
it.
and I've been a fan of Steven since he was a StarCraft 2 player playing for Roots. So yeah, it's
That's
been
cool.
over 10 years. So yeah, I got a little bit more of a fangirl space. But yeah, dude. Anyway, it was fun talking to you. I hope to talk to you about other things in the future. So.
Yep. All right.
All right, man. Take care.
Yep. You have a good one.
Chat, don't diss on me.
Yeah, it's cool. You got in Discord. There's respect there for getting in Discord in the first place. All right.
Yeah, man. No problem.
All right.
Take care, dude.
Yep. Bye. All right. That lasted a while. Wait, you're not allowed to complain? Uh-oh. For anybody who's wondering, by the way, there's been some people that have come in since it happened, but I explained it. But I have a cut or like a blood blister on my hand from lifting weights, for anybody who's wondering what this is and why I don't have it in my other hand. It recently came up because I was holding the bar too wide and it came down and it pinched and it fucked my hand. We'll see if it scars or whatever. But yeah. It's unlucky. All right. I think I'm gonna be done now. I'm really fucking sick and my head hurts so goddamn bad. There was a bunch of people that were saying they wanted to get in Discord though. I don't know what y'all were thinking about saying or whatever, but I prefer to have those conversations be one-on-one. I think it was reasonable to have one-on-one, so yeah. Last time I had something like that, I had to have it surgically cauterized. No shot. Discord is for gay people? What the hell are you saying, dude? Guys, my peen hurts from so much banging. Nice. Feel better, bud? I'm sick as well. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go. It's been fun. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier. I say that every time, but I'm trying to. I haven't been able to sleep very well at all. I sat there not being able to sleep for so long last night. I'm going to try and get a little bit more sleep tonight. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys later, all right? Much love. All right, bye. Don't worry about it. It's just spike proteins crossing a blood barrier. Sure, whatever.